Hey guys, welcome to episode 241 of 4PlayerAnimecast. We are smack dab in the middle of the, excuse me, smack dab in the middle of the uh winter 2024 season, mid-February, 7 I guess 17th of February 2024, 10 p.m. or 10 16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on the East Coast of the United States. Hope everybody had a happy Valentine's Day. And I am your host, Spire. Here with me are my compatriots, Toast.
Man, boy, what a eventful year it's been, huh?
Yeah. Near
Hey,
and Dark.
Hello.
All right, we're getting into the thick of things, so obviously we're going to have a lot to cover. And the past 2 weeks also have been quite the eventful 2 weeks in terms of anime otaku related news. So let's get to our 2 weeks real quick and just blaze through them so we can get on to the reviews and news as well. Starting with you, Toast. 2 weeks, real quick.
Oh boy, 2 weeks? It felt like years, dude. So much has
Yeah, it's
happened in
been
1 week.
a lot of shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what
yeah.
have you been doing? What have you been
I've been
doing?
watching. I love VTubers, Fire.
Yes, this was a known fact before.
So Spire, when are we doing the VTuber podcast?
We are not.
I'm still waiting on that. Remember, we all have to we
when it
all have to
ends,
represent.
when it ends, we'll do a VTuber
When all the thing.
retrospective.
Oh hell yeah! All right.
When
The
Yeah,
funny
we
thing
VTubers are
is,
done.
the thing is, I want to say this very clearly. Some people are taking layer one pessimism is thinking, and I know some people in the Discord server have told me this, um, but layer one pessimism is thinking that these VTuber agencies will just be able to kind of cycle through and pick up, you know, the next flavor of the month thing and keep the Simps on rolling, right? And the money will flow in forever. Um, the layer two pessimism, which is what I have gained through years and years of seeing these same fucking cam girls and no female streamers and Twitcasters and all these motherfuckers like the male streamers just drift in and out of radio podcasts, ASMR, um, game stream, whatever Wonderland, right? The layer two pessimism is knowing that no company, no agency, no, especially one related to streaming, no streamer lasts forever. And if you think that anybody is immune to this, whether it's, obviously Niji Sanji is clearly not immune to this, but, uh, Hololive, Vispo, whatever, what was it? Uh, fucking the mangaka girl, right? The woman that married like the president or whatever. That woman, uh, you know, whoever, right? If you think any of these companies are immune and they can just churn on forever without scandals, without crumbling eventually, I will be here to tell you, you guys are wrong. Everything comes to an end, and oftentimes, especially with these sorts of volatile streamers, um, and I've seen a lot of these streamers kind of go on, off, in, out, on hiatus for 50 years and then back for a week and then on hiatus again, whatever. Nothing lasts forever. But, um, it is what it is. Anyways,
Opinions
I
sorry
are
for the.
remember
relaxing.
Spy. We were
Yeah.
on the VTuber podcast. We all were going to represent one company. Do you want to change your choice?
We were going to. Is this a plan
Yes.
that I
Yeah, that
was not
was.
informed of?
I've been
That I
talking
was
about it
not informed.
every single time I bring it up. It's about this. Would you like to
Yeah, but
change your
I don't
company?
want I don't want to be part of that plan. Is I think the initial assumption that we should go with. But
Because I know what I believe. Nier got Phase Connect. Dark
Huh?
got Dark got Vishojo. I get Hololive. You get the other one. Would you like to switch your choice?
what is the
Why do
other
I
one?
get V Shoujo? I
Oh,
don't fucking.
then do
I
you
don't
want
Niji-san?
Phase
fucking
Connect?
watch anyone from there. I don't watch
I don't. I
VTubers,
think.
dude.
I don't think. I think the. I think the
Exactly. That's
main.
why you're perfect for VShojo.
I think the main companies that I've watched recently are probably, like the Korean ones, like Style Live and stuff like that, obviously. But other than that, like the
But
only
but they're not
major
they're not
Japanese one.
they're not
Yeah,
yeah, they're
Spire
not
has
a
to
major
take the
Japanese.
Spire has to take the Korean front.
Yeah. But the only
But
major like
Dark,
VTuber
they took away
agencies.
they canceled their Korean branch a long time ago. It doesn't exist.
I think the only one that I watch regularly now is or members of VSPO, probably the only ones. But that is again neither
Oh
here nor
wow,
there. Toast.
isn't that the third talent agency, the third biggest?
The
Are they third?
I would not know. I am
I've been
not
third.
one of those people on virtual YouTubers Reddit who are jerking off to streamer numbers. So but
But
anyways,
don't you read the quarterlies, the quarterly reports from each company? They're mentioned.
I do
Why would
not.
you?
Don't you follow
I
every
am
VTuber newsletter? The fuck?
I
Don't
am
you follow
unfortunately
Yahoo Finance Buyer? Have you taken a look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
stocks recently?
Yahoo. Go follow the Yahoo News to see which like internet personality pops up on Yahoo News because Japan loves making like random edit posts of like people, internet personalities there. But
But Spire,
no,
don't you like the 19.64% drop? You
of
saw that?
what?
Oh, it went up. Okay. It went up
Okay,
2.11% from last time.
that
Okay.
is an extremely
We're
sad thing
back,
to
boys.
memorize. But okay. Anyways, what have you been up to, Toast, in the
I've been
past 2 weeks? Please make
following
it short.
this fun news. Hell yeah.
Okay,
It's fun.
well, VTuber news, then I guess that's pretty much it.
Oh,
Then
what's her name?
Nier.
Oh, by the way, happy Gal Pal Day to y'all.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Or
Valentine's,
Dude
yeah,
Pal Day, what
yeah.
or in
bro. I
between.
straight slept through the entirety of Valentine's Day.
Hell yeah. Oh, yeah,
Nice.
you have Valentine's Day in Canada?
Yeah, we do.
Love
Wow.
exists in Canada. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
emotions as well. Believe me.
Emotions. It doesn't get frozen by the snow. Dude, on the
But
continent.
near Saint Valentine was Roman. How do the Canadians know about it?
How do the Americans know about it?
That is
Because
also true. We
we're a
don't read
melting pot.
actually, so it's
We
very
we
Yeah.
we
curious how we
take
know what
all.
holidays.
We celebrate all the holidays.
That's not true, but you know.
Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Cinco de Mayo, it's all here.
All the holidays. Those
I
three
yeah,
encompass all the
I don't think
holidays.
I've ever seen the Kwanzaa aisle in Walmart, but you know.
But that's because you're in Canada, near.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Also, I don't know what Boxing Day is, or Kentucky Derby Day. Is that a Canadian thing?
What
I think
I
Boxing
know.
Boxing
Day?
Day. Yeah, Boxing Day is.
Yeah, we have Boxing Day.
Wait,
What's
isn't Kentucky? Kentucky is literally just a state. I mean, obviously, like it's the race, but it's like, is it just the state in the United States? So that it doesn't stand to reason why
I don't know.
Canadians would know the Kentucky Derby.
I remember back in elementary school we were forced to celebrate Kentucky Derby Day despite none of us being from Kentucky, so I don't know.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate, honestly. But near 2 weeks, please.
Yeah, I've been straight drama maxing, like.
Oh, Nier's been in this too, hell yeah. It's good stuff.
I've been in the
What is it?
swamps, so there's the Niji Sanji drama.
Yes.
There's quite a few like E-Celeb dramas happening. Which I won't
Okay.
bring up.
Yeah.
Some
Near who's
Why
worse
so
now? Wagner or Niji Sanji?
right. I mean, right now,
Yeah,
probably
as of
Wactor,
today.
dude.
Considering
Like,
Wactor lost all of their talent now, I think it's probably
Hell yeah.
Went from
I think-
100% to 0.
yeah, I think Wactor's not doing too good. But
Mm.
yeah, I've just been fucking knee deep in the fucking drama streams, fucking Reddit posts, fucking 4chan threads, like.
All of them, yeah. Honestly, the issue is it's like at this point it's hard to not see it because it's on all the mainstream like internet
Yeah.
media now.
I've
But
just
what
been
I'll
a-
also
I've just
say
been a
is
drama
that
fiend.
what I'll also say is that much like usual, the internet, especially how do I say this? The very young and very stupid anime and otaku and VTuber related community has no sense of this like gradual build up or understanding of the history or any of it. And it's always just like, wow, Niji Sanji is a company. And then boom, suddenly like some breaking point hits, and immediately now Niji Sanji and everybody else is just literally the worst people and just, Nazis and Hitler and everything rolled into one, which I'm saying that, obviously Niji Sanji is a very lax and corrupt, company with corrupt middle management and I guess management in general, just filled to the brim. That is not even in question. But what I'm saying is we knew about this sort of build up since when did Niji Sanji Korea in Indonesia start? Toast. What was it? Was it like 17?
2021?
20
What?
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, 21 really?
21?
Okay,
No,
okay.
22? It's all been a long
Wasn't it
time, dude.
before COVID? I thought it was before COVID.
No.
Really? Okay, okay, okay.
Wait, are
okay.
you talking about closing it or starting it?
Yeah.
Starting. Let's say start. That was like years ago, right?
December 17th, 2020.
Okay, so let's do that, and then I guess if you add a year
Wow,
for
that is old.
the incidents to start coming up, then it's not that old to be fair.
'Cause,
The
Ichisanji
although
English was 2020 also.
yeah,
So
so
they were
let's
coming
add a
out.
year for the incidents to start, leaking out, right? I guess that puts it 21, which is what you indicated. But like
They
we
were
knew about
merged
this
into
starting.
the main branch in 2022. So it's like, ooh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So 21. Yeah. So we knew about this starting from like 21. To anybody that had more than one
Um,
brain cell and like more than a third of a year, people knew this, right? It's like
Yeah, you say that, but like people also didn't watch Niji Sanji ID. So like, you know what I mean?
yeah, that is also true. Nobody actually
Hold
nobody
on, hold
got
on.
marketed for any of
And
this.
also,
Hold on. Is it
we're
ID
like,
or IN? Remember, there was an India branch that gone too.
Essentially, ID
Well,
started up
the
and then
ID
crashed.
yeah, the ID branch like burned up in flames. Like
So
as
okay,
soon as
so the difference
the
between
ground-
ID and India is like, yeah, ID got to like 5,000 feet in the air and then it just crashed, and India just like Niji Sanji India just crashed in the hangar, like
Don't
exploded in the hangar.
don't you mean the former Niji Sanji English, which was India? But then they're like, never mind.
Yeah.
That was that too.
But not too. This is not. I mean, the history lesson is it is
Niji
appreciated, but
Sanji
it's like
India was doing really good, but then it's like, hey, we're just gonna take away all your
yeah. I
managers.
mean,
It's suddenly all
I mean, the
sucked
point I
out.
was trying to make is not the history lesson, but it was what I'm pointing out is that we knew all of this starting from that, like literally the moment that these leaks started to happen, we were just like, oh, it's pretty obvious what the fuck's going on. And
but Millie said Niji Sanji's not a black company.
oh yeah, that's true.
Remember,
I
remember, only
apologize.
2 graduations
um,
in
but
EN.
yeah, I mean, again, the history lesson aside, that's not the point I'm trying to make here. The point is that, in my opinion, this is like exactly the same thing that's happening with Mappa, exactly the same thing that's happening with Crunchyroll slash Funimation, and it's like the most, in my opinion, not it's not completely malicious, but it's just despicable. And this is why the anime community gets the runaround and gets treated like, idiots all the fucking time because there's
They are.
yeah, because honestly, you guys are fucking stupid. Like I just like I have to say it straight up. We knew for years and years and years and years and years that anime studios are getting butt fucked by the publishers, the production committee people, that the people and the grassroots are getting screwed by the management, as well as the schedules they have to live, the money that they don't never get, the subsidies from the government that are supremely ineffective in helping any of that. And everybody's just like, oh, anime studios, wow, and Japan anime. And then suddenly, after a certain breaking point, Mappa even when A1, right? A1 had that the suicide incident, right? Of the person jumping out the window. Like even after that, people were just wow, anime studios,
Well, keep in mind,
and then
I'm pretty sure the suicide um came after like uh a story of like somebody being harassed to the point of like quitting or whatever. Like
yeah,
yeah, like there were a few stories from A1 that like led up to that suicide, right? So
yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is that there was nothing that changed significantly after
yeah, of
like
course.
A1. Yeah, yeah. And then even and then right after we hit that breaking point with Nappa, suddenly anime studios, we can't be having these conditions. Like, what is wrong with you people? And the same thing with Crunchyroll. Wow, Crunchyroll, you guys should be thankful for all these, the anime localization, blah blah blah. Like they're sponsoring what is the Tower of God? They're making, localizations awesome. What are you guys complaining about? Boom. The moment, and even after the privacy breach, right? Nobody was making a fucking peep about it on social media. And suddenly this the merging happens, and everybody gets screwed in on their subscriptions, and magically in one day, Crunchyroll is now the evil company. And so, this is why anime viewers and otaku and the related media people community get treated like idiots because they are. It's so frustrating to see this build up when you could just have 1/3 of one ear just open to the news that's flashing by you every day, every week, every year, and be privy to all this crap that's happening and not be suddenly screwed and not be able to fight against when it's already at your doorstep. And it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating that the community acts like this at times. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for the outburst.
They
Nier,
just need
please
to make
continue.
their voice actors do an apology. I love
Yeah.
Komodo
True.
Friends.
True.
Yeah. Anything else? 2 weeks.
Not really. Gaming.
Yeah.
Played a bit of Helldivers 2. That game is
Oh
broken.
shit.
Um, yeah. Other than
Is
that,
it
not
good?
too much.
No?
It's good when it works.
Yeah. Yeah. That's important.
But but other than that, not too much. Just kind of chipping away at the backlog. You know what I mean?
Yep. Dark. 2 weeks, please.
In some ways I've been drama maxing, I guess. Well, not really. I don't know. I like
World Star.
yeah, I mean I've been going through it with what do you call it? Obviously the Nijisanji stuff. The other e-celeb shit I've been like not really engaging with, but like kind of like from a distance being like, damn, that's crazy.
It's really
Whatever.
funny. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Um, and then as far as my personal stuff, just engaging with people who think the new Vultures album by Kanye West is actually good. So, no. And
Right.
they do be saying some shit. Um to say
God, I
the
forgot
least.
the Kanye thing happened too. Fuck me, man. So much
Listen,
shit.
man, I got hit with look, okay? He apologized to any like Jewish kids that may have gotten hit in the crossfire, but he just really doesn't like Jewish executives. And I was like,
Fair enough.
damn, wow, the fact that you fucking wrote that shit out and like hit
I mean, I think
enter
it's
and was like
fair,
send.
I think that's
Like
just
what?
completely
I
a
was like, bro,
normal
what?
thought to have.
He just
Like,
doesn't
yeah,
like
you're right.
anything
He's not a
that ends
listen,
with
he's
Berg.
not yeah, look, he's not a Nazi anymore for anyone
Yeah.
under the age of 18.
Yeah. Oh my god.
But yeah, so
What a
I've
fucking
been
blow up.
going through that. As far as other stuff, gaming and whatnot, I beat Persona 5 Royal. Then I picked up
Nice.
Persona 5 Strikers and I'm playing through that now. And and then I picked up Persona 5 Tactica, play that after.
Mhm.
And then I think after that, it's on to Persona 3 remake, and then maybe Q, as we await to hear any news for 4 stuff. So, you
Yeah.
know. But yeah, that's been pretty good. Also played Helldivers when it worked. That game is fun when it works, which it very rarely does right now. So,
Mhm.
bit unfortunate. But yeah, things have been all right as far as anime goes. Kind of been just keeping up with stuff this season. Haven't really been checking out too much new stuff yet.
Mhm.
But I think
How's
we will.
Gotthard?
How's Kamen Rider Gotchard? Kamen Rider Gotchard, I think, is the best of the Reiwa so far, at least
Better
right
than
now.
Geats right now, even though Geats is
Yeah,
getting a DVD release.
I think it is. Granted, Geats was fun, but I think this is shaping up to be better than Geats. I think it's a more fun world. I think its characters are a bit more fun.
Have you
And
peeped
its
the new
plot lines
forms?
and visuals have been good. I haven't seen the. Yeah, I think I've seen Geats's or not Geats. I've seen Gotchard's like supposed final form. If that's what you mean, but
All right, here let me send you some screenshots.
really
There
good
you go.
arcs. Really good arcs. Tokusatsu is eating good right now, so can't complain.
All right. Pretty good. Thank you, Dark. I guess I'll round it up again. 2 weeks. No, nothing too much special. I think. I played a decent amount of games this past week for some reason. Most of it kind of focused on this week. Um, Stormgate beta, a little open beta, a little bit. I wasn't particularly impressed with it. It wasn't very exciting.
How's
Spirit Island, Borg. Yeah,
how's Nukatashi 2?
Nikitashi 2. I actually have the raw version, but I've never played it. And I'm gonna be real honest. I said this before too, and this was like falling off the whole like Soul Press scam localization crowdfunding or whatever. But until somebody shows me that these VN localizations can shape up and deliver consistently good products at a decent price point, there is no reason for me to give them any of my money, especially when I can just A, read the raw, and B, access it via other means, right?
But Spire,
So,
according to this list, Nukatashi is only number 4. The number one selling VN on JST is Slow Damage. It looks to be up your alley. You should check it out.
I mean,
Here,
whatever
here you go,
Jazz
Spire.
or Moin or what is it, manga gamers or what was that fucking the recent one that came out? The recent one that's been localizing a lot. Like all these other fucking localizers, I don't give a shit. Like they are.
Look at this guy. Not supporting localizers and translators
I
at
mean,
all.
I'm not supporting translators. I'm not supporting localizers. There
I
is
bet
a big difference between the two.
I bet this guy didn't even buy Mahoutsukai no Yoru, and he's not going to buy Fate Stay Night when it gets translated.
Hell no,
See,
because
this
I
guy
know
doesn't
that
support.
there's a very
Doesn't support the industry.
yeah, I
He
sorry for not
hates the
supporting the
industry.
industry for not giving five, you know, out of like the $600 that I'm gonna pay to buy, the Fate Stay Night remake that's gonna come out. 5 cents of that is gonna go to your translator slash editor slash QA. I apologize for not giving them that nickel, but none of these localizers have really impressed me so far with their selection of who they picked as their team and how well these products have turned out. So it is what it is. So I won't hold my breath
Hey,
on these.
Spire always wants translators to do well in translating, but then he doesn't support them at all.
Yes, I have done literally zero to help out in the translation industry. That is true.
How will you support them if you won't buy their products, Spire?
Uh by
At
not
this rate,
supporting terrible localization efforts,
at
that's a
this
start.
rate, if no one translates Spire, it's just gonna be AIMTL
That
forever.
blood is on your
And then
hands,
Spire will
sir.
be like,
Yeah.
why doesn't anybody translate? Because no
Toast
one
Toast
is
is like
supporting them.
I will eat shit so that, later on maybe I can get slightly less shit in my dish. That is clearly how that works.
If you're asking me if I'm going to buy the Fate one, of course I will, because I like that series. I didn't buy the Clannad one because no thanks. I don't want to play through that 300 hours again. That's the only reason why I didn't buy it when it got translated for real.
Yeah. I am not a fan of eating poop served to me on a plate for the reason of maybe the next plate will be a poop that's slightly more enticing. So, it is what it is. But that is neither here nor there. I played Spirit Island board game. That was fun. Played some more Tekken, caught up with some series. I watched Bravern on because I actually did want to watch it before in the preview. I did
Liar.
mention this, but I also watched it on behest of Dark recommending it, and I don't know whether it's the best series that I've watched this year or whether uh, it's a series of all time for
Do you
sure.
like or do you like the opening? Do you like the ending better than the opening?
Um,
He
it's
doesn't
kind of
know.
all it's
He
kind of
doesn't
all
know.
there.
You should peep the ending.
Okay. But to me both of them kind of seem all pretty much the same, but uh so saw the series and then it's been most like that, just running around. I did manage to get around to some more series, but for the most part it's been pretty quiet on my end. But yeah, that was my 2 weeks, and let's just hop on quickly to the first review. Toast, what do you have for us?
Which one of you, Spy? You're the only one here that hasn't played Dragon's Dogma, right?
Yes, I have not played it.
How dare you?
Apologize. I know
So
it is
how
a good game, but yeah, I have not
good?
played it.
How good do you think it is?
I mean, very good from the reviews I've
Rate it.
heard.
What do you think the score is?
Why would I rate it when I haven't played it? Can you just go
What
on with
mall
your series,
score?
Toast?
Spire, there's a method to my madness.
Okay.
If you
I don't
played,
think that's true.
if you played Dragon's Dogma, you'd understand.
Yeah.
But
I have
yeah,
no idea what I
I've
would
played
rate it.
Dragon's Dogma, and I literally have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
Near.
So
Yeah.
Remember when the dragon ate that guy?
yeah, I don't even know what
Oh,
series you're covering,
all right. I'm
so you
sorry. I
should
should say
probably get to that.
I'm
Yeah.
covering the Unwanted Undead Adventurer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also known in Japanese as Nozomanu. Yeah. Nozomanu Fushi. Yeah. Nozomanu Fushi no Boukensha, I think is the name,
yeah.
right?
So
Yes.
there's this dude named Rent Fina, okay, who's been a bronze rank, or is it bronze? Yeah, a bronze rank
Yeah.
adventurer for like 25 years, okay, and
Okay.
that's the second to lowest rank, the lowest rank being iron. So he's what you call a veteran newbie. He's been at this for a while, but he's
Mm-hmm.
pretty weak and whatnot, and so he regularly scrounges around. What is it? The labyrinth of the moon's reflection? Is that what it's called? I don't know, something like that. Or as they call it on my anime list, the water moon dungeon. What? I don't know why it's called. I got different subtitles than the one on my anime list. But yeah, so he's slumming around trying to get by, but then he discovers a mysterious path that opens up in this dungeon. Like, oh, there's an unexplored area, and what he encounters in there is a dragon in quotes, but it's not a traditional looking dragon. It's got a halo and wings, and it looks more like a bugbear, or not a bugbear, an owl bear, if you know what an owl bear looks like, but without a head, with like a giant.
Oh, what the fuck? Okay.
What's it called? What's the thing that doesn't have a mouth or doesn't have a head but has a giant mouth?
Like
Uh,
a leech or something?
no,
What do you? Are you talking about like a D&D monster kind of thing?
yeah. What is it called?
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I don't know. Sorry.
It's like a headless thing that's an, not an Argus. That's not it. Whatever. It's got wings. It's called a dragon because I guess at that class of a monster, a dragon can be whatever you want it to be. And so he gets because he's just a bronze rank. He can't do anything. He gets eaten by the
Yep, by the
dragon,
dragon.
and then
Yes.
he wakes up. He wakes up as a skeleton. I don't know. Maybe the dragon pooped him out. I guess that's the only way he was left with just bones. Whatnot. So now he's Skeleton Man,
Yeah.
and now he's on a quest to regain his humanity in a way. Not really.
Does he get any special abilities as a skeleton?
Yes, sure, because they mentioned that both humans and monsters level up. They gain experience by doing things, but in for monsters, they have this thing called existential evolution, where if you gain enough experience points, you evolve into a higher being. So now that he's a skeleton, because Rent was so weak before, but now that he's like a skeleton, he's been reborn in a way. So now he's
He gets to evolve as like a skeleton or what?
yeah, after he
Okay, okay.
kills a bunch of skeletons and slimes, he levels up and becomes a ghoul. So now he's more human-like. So now he can
Oh, okay, okay,
escape
okay.
the dungeon, and
Oh,
you
I feel like
know
I'd rather stay a skeleton
why you can't
than being like
talk or
just like
speak as a
half
skeleton.
flesh. Like,
But yeah, it's like you got to go through the evolution. Skeleton into a ghoul into I don't know. You got to follow the
Probably he'll
undead
become like a
evolutionary
lich
tree.
or something like
yeah,
that,
probably
right?
a yeah.
Not a lich. He's got flesh. He can't be a lich. Maybe like
Some
I
lich
don't know.
is like. Oh, actually,
A
no. Yeah,
lich
shit.
can
They're more like
assume flesh form
spectral,
though, right?
right?
Yeah. Spectral.
No, depends. Most liches are skeletons, but he's
Yeah,
got
that is
flesh,
true.
so he's probably gonna be like what's the highest class of undead usually? Like a vampire? Sure.
I
The
mean,
thing
that's
is,
a bit of a
it
stretch. I
is a
don't know if he'd
lich.
go to
Like
vampire. Like,
yeah, undead. The thing is,
How is he
usually
gonna fucking get vampirism?
Exactly. That's what I want to know. Like you got a ghoul. Well,
why are you assuming that's what he's gonna be though?
because what ghouls are what they call a vampire's thralls, right? If they're a different
No,
gender.
Not necessarily.
not
no.
necessarily.
Thralls.
It
Thralls
depends
are
on
just
the
thralls.
story.
Like they can be
Yeah.
whatever. They
But
don't technically
anyways,
like
I don't
vampire
know.
thralls. Don't even technically have
Sure.
to be undead. They could just be
If you gotta go through
mechanized.
the undead evolutionary tree and it's not like a skeleton, you get flesh. I'm thinking vampire. So yeah,
we'll see. But yeah, I mean
his
for
quest,
later.
his dream was to become a mithril rank adventurer, as all young boys dream of. And now that he's become a skeleton man, and now he's a ghoul, He's got
Okay.
to
Wait, if he's a
level up his
ghoul, maybe
evolution
he'll
character.
just. It depends on the world, but maybe he just becomes undead after that.
But
You
is he
know, like
undead?
a risen, essentially. You know what I mean?
Oh, like an
like
ascendant, yeah.
like a death knight or something, where it's like
Yeah, yeah,
Dead.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah,
dead,
yeah.
but
That's
they're
cool.
not like they're full flesh, everything like
Yeah.
that.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, but the
The
thing
rest of this
is,
is what?
as a skeleton, he retains all his memories and his previous skill set from before. So they mentioned that there's 3 types of energy in the world. There's a spirit energy, then there's magic, and then there's like holy divinity energy, and he has all
What?
3 as a skeleton.
Wow, so cool.
Wait, how is
Just like
magic different
me.
from spirit and holy?
The difference between MP and SP, uh,
What?
why not? Don't
It's
you
like the
know?
difference between monk and wizard in D&D.
Sure. Like some people have SP bars, some have MP bars, and some have
Yeah.
TP bars.
What the
This,
fuck?
this is basic RPG stuff, Spire or near.
I
Not
mean, yeah, I guess
really.
technically, I guess as far as resources go, it
Spirit
didn't do it,
spirit
but
energy is basically like physical skills and whatnot.
they kind of did do
Physical
that
boosting
in
skills.
even. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say they kind of did do that in fucking Free Run,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like
Spirit energy
the
is physical
spirit
boosting
magic is
skills,
different.
and then magic
Like
is magic, and then divinity is like holy stuff. So he has all those as a skeleton and even as a ghoul. So whatever the dragon did to him must have given him more powers. And the thing is that as a skeleton and now a ghoul, he's become stronger than he was as a human. So I guess the dragon in quotes did him a favor. Now that he can become stronger. Yeah.
So what
It's
is
it's
so
a
what's
s- it's
what's
a
the
s-
balance of story in this series? I know there's like the harem aspect of it. There's obviously the RPG kind of dungeon crawl
harem.
aspect of it. Um, what is like the balance between these
What do you
and how
mean harem
episodic is?
spire? Why do you think everything is a harem?
It's pretty obvious. This
Yeah, as you say, it really
He's
is.
literally
I,
surrounded by like
I'm
3
seeing
girls.
multiple
Like,
girls on this
What do you mean?
title.
I,
Like,
I one of them
I,
the
it's a
one with
pure romance. Don't worry about it.
there's
it's
one
purely
the
platonic,
the
dude. Okay.
one with the ponytail is the one who he encounters in the as a ghoul, and he's like rah 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 because he can't speak. But they
Yeah.
somehow, but he practiced how to talk, so he told her to get some clothes and
Yeah, but
stuff. So that's
she's a
his
member of the harem,
benefit.
right?
Just
Yeah. Okay.
no, I've she's gone after like one episode because he runs away
Okay.
from her. He's like, thanks, but I don't want to be involved with you anymore. Goodbye. She's gone. The only like reoccur reoccurring or main interest, I guess, is the wit it the magician slash scholar Lorraine, who's interested in him now that more interested in him now that he's become a ghoul because she's been
What
researching
about
like
the guild
monster evolution
employee?
and stuff. I don't know. She's there.
No, yeah, she's just there. Yeah, is that what you call it in the industry? Just being
Fire, don't
there?
you know
Jesus.
most guild employees stay at the guild? They don't wander around after
Yeah,
that.
there's zero scenes of them being interested at all.
She
I
can't.
apologize.
She,
That's
she
true.
can't. She can't. She doesn't exist outside the guild. Okay.
Yeah, that's how, yeah. And it's like an RPG, right? It's like the moment you go out of the guild, it's like she's dead. She's dead to me. Zero
Yeah.
object
So
permanence. Yeah.
so the main thing is about Lorraine researching monster evolution and Rent going along with her experiments. You
Hmm.
know, trying to evolve
So
so
it's
become more
like what? It's like
human-like in
80%
a way.
dungeon. It's like
No,
80 90% like dungeon crawl and like 20% harem. Is that how that works?
I don't know why you keep calling it harem, but sure, it's more about Rent adventuring around, trying to evolve and beating out monsters, and like just trying to see how far he can go as an undead
Okay.
and
Yeah,
whatnot.
so it's mostly dungeon crawl. What's the structure? Is this like episodic? I'm guessing this is pretty episodic, right? Well,
It,
it
it
looks like no. It looks like kind of like yeah. It looks like you're doing like things across multiple episodes at least, right? I think.
it's pretty slow paced. I
Uh-huh.
believe I'm about like 6 episodes in,
Hmm.
and just he's still in like the starting area
Hmm.
where you know
T.
he came back to the after becoming an undead ghoul. He came back to the uh the guild, and now he's testing out his new skills and seeing if he could rank up. And just now he's been tasked with he's taken his level up exam with a bunch of newbies and whatnot. So yeah, this is pretty slow for 6 episodes because we're still in the beginning area.
Can I ask? What was I gonna ask? Oh yeah, is there how much foreshadowing is there in terms of oh, obviously he has this initial as part of his premise. He has this setting where wants to regain his human body, right? He wants to become a human adventurer again. But is there any sort of foreshadowing where they say stuff like there's a secret behind this world, the truth of this world that you have to bear witness to, or like some guy staring from the top of a cliff upon the town, and he's one of the ambassadors of the demon lord or something like that. Is there any sort of foreshadowing like that in the anime
There
scene?
was a mysterious lady voiced by Saori Hayami, and I was
Okay.
like, oh, I'm investigating that secret area you were in, and like I don't know, that's it. So there's a reason why there was a mysterious dragon in there, and now this mysterious lady was in the area.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay. Uh,
but after that,
so
not really.
mhm.
It's pretty slow paced right now.
Okay. And do you think it'll wrap up with like the standard there were more adventures afterwards, but then probably I
It's
want to say
definitely this is what 12 episodes. This is definitely not going to clear the story
yeah,
of
yeah,
this, right?
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
still in one town, and it's like, oh,
Do you
very
think
slow
it
paced.
yeah, okay. It's I mean, so this is unfortunately, not unfortunately, maybe unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which side you're on, right? Because some people like this, right?
I
Some people
want a
are of the
season two.
mind where they think Lord of the Rings movies should have told the entire series or a story of everything in the books, right? So, unfortunately or
True.
not, we should have just sat there in the movies until we rot in the theater until we rotted. But we this is sort of what happens when there isn't as much truncation, right? In these sorts of slower pace, uh, not light novel adaptations of not isekai, but high fantasy, power fantasy series. But
Spire counts as isekai. He got reborn.
oh wait, he did get yeah, yeah. He got reborn into the same world. He came in. That's true as a monster.
It counts, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But but I guess yeah. Is there any? uh, I guess the mysterious lady you said voiced by Hami Sari. I guess that's the woman that's going to lead up into the drama that he's going to face in the later episodes, in episodes 8 through 12, and then they're going to end
I
it
don't
at
know. I don't know if
8
we're gonna get that far, but maybe.
maybe.
I doubt it. Maybe in the season two. I don't think this is gonna get very far in 12 episodes. There's a lot to do because
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
read the manga. But yeah,
I know that uh, not the audio part necessarily, but the visuals got some attention, right? Especially when we were looking at the trailer, it was very dark, grimy kind of. There was no lighting to be had of any real sorts, right? And everything was blue and black,
dog.
right?
That's because it's a dungeon.
Yes. Well, no, I do get that.
There's
Is that sort
for
of
if we're
maintained
gonna
throughout the entire series, and do you think that fits the series appropriately?
if you're gonna mention the visuals, there's a lot of CG usage in this.
Yes, yes,
In a way,
we all saw that too, I think,
like
right?
what like when Rent was a skeleton, he was entirely CG the entire time. When he's fighting other CG skeletons and CG slimes, and I'm like, huh. But when he became a ghoul, I mean, I guess they decided to let him be more animated because there's very few times where he's CG.
Yeah, well, hand animating 2D skeletons probably fucking sucks. So
Is that why every time there's a skeleton in anime nowadays, it's CG?
Yeah,
yeah,
pretty much.
probably.
That
like,
and
like drawing skeletons fucking sucks ass, dude.
essentially things that are almost always CG 3D modeled now in anime as a standard is like stuff like skeletons and some like general like big roundish monsters, right? That mechas slash mechs, um, any vehicles, general vehicles that are just on the roads or whatever, buildings, and I want to say stuff like instruments that aren't animated too much. Essentially, those five things are almost always full 3D these days.
I should also mention that speaking of CG, in the first few episodes when they're walking around like in the dungeon by himself, so what it's very reminiscent of a what's that style of viewpoint where it's grid based, a first person grid based
Isometric?
is it isometric?
No. Wait, use the first person?
First person. It's like when you're walking around the dungeons, it's when you're like you gotta type.
Oh,
It's
like
grid
are you talking
based.
about like the old like dungeon
The
crawler
old,
games?
yeah, like
Yeah.
Etrian Odyssey, Strange Journey, the old Persona 1 and 2s. When you're dungeon crawling, it's that type of viewpoint,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pretty CG. I mean, it's neat. I don't know what it's. Off the top of my head, I don't remember what it's called though. Is it isometric?
No,
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 it's
no.
not isometric.
No.
I think it might just be called
probably just first person. Like,
first person.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't
they're
think there's
just
a
called
specific
dungeon
name for that.
crawlers, like those types of games.
I
Yeah,
don't think there's. Yeah, unfortunately,
it's like
I
that.
probably know what you mean.
It's
Yeah,
a pretty neat concept. Like they use it
that
for the
is
first
actually pretty
couple of
cool because it's
episodes.
like having a first person is definitely not a thing that's used that much in a lot of anime series. Obviously, there are some sports series, for instance, that have cuts where they do flash kind of 1 or 2 second sequences from the perspective of player where they're just going in for the goal or whatever it is, right? They have like very brief moments of that, but there's not much of that being used in most other genres, right? In anime, that is very
But yeah, I brought that up because after the first couple episodes, they completely abandoned it, and I got kind of sad.
interesting. They pulled the Idolmaster where they're like, "Oh, we could do something interesting," and they're like, nah. We could be interesting, but fuck it," kind of thing.
But it might be because it's either because I do you want to call it an evolution of his stats? Because when he was starting out, he was weak, so he was moving very slowly in the dungeon like that, RPG wise. But then as he leveled up and evolved, he became quicker and nimbler. So they abandoned that train of thought. I don't know. Am I giving them too much credit?
probably.
Because I would have liked it if they kept it, but they didn't.
Yeah, I'll
But
agree.
yeah, let's see. The studio that make this is Connect, and I love I love Strike the Blood,
Yeah,
and
they're
Chaos Dragon, and what else? Ayakashi
yeah,
Triangle. I don't know.
yeah. They
I don't
did a
know.
lot of
It's a
fantasy
lot of
series for
Strike the Blood and
3DS.
Orewosuki. Yeah,
It's Strike the Blood, Chaos Dragon, Ange Vierge. I think we know
De-
that.
Death March.
Machiavellism was pretty decent. Death March, yeah. Yeah, they've done a decent amount of stuff. It's just that it's a little bit slower stuff, and I would say
It's a
probably the studio's on the smaller side. They also did a lot of co-produce, obviously.
it's a subsidiary of Silverlink that got reabsorbed back in. So is it Silverlink? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's an
it's kind of.
it's an internal department of Silverlink, so it's Silverlink. Like, how
Mm.
dare you lie to me? I don't know. But yeah, what else? Voice actor wise, Lorraine, the main witch is voiced by Komatsu Mikako. I don't know who this is. Oh, it's Lupus Regina from Overlord. That's one name. And then the main character Rent, voiced by Suzuki Ryota. I don't know who this is either. Uh, I don't. None of these names on his thing speak out to me. Uh,
Suzuki Ryota?
yeah,
Yeah, Suzuki Ryota has been a little bit more
Shin
of the
Nakama, I guess.
past, I want to say, 5 years or so, but it's like he's done a couple of kind of supporting roles, I think. But I know, didn't he do Ishikami Yu? Yeah, he did Ishikami Yu and Kaguya-sama.
He's the twins from Blue Lock. Oh
Yeah, yeah.
boy, yeah, whatever. And then let's see, Rupaje Rina, the weak iron swordsman girl he meets. That's voiced by
Hasegawa Ikumi?
Suzushiro Sayumi, also known as Nijika. So that's cool. I already mentioned Hayami Saori as the mysterious woman he meets there. Then let's see, who cares about her? The guild girl that you kept talking about that's Hasegawa Ikumi,
Yeah.
and that's Kita from also Bochi the Rock. Wow, high quality people there. But yeah, not interesting cast. The only ones that speak out to me are the Bochi the Rock voice actors. The
So would you
opening,
actually?
the opening
Oh yeah,
is
okay.
Immortal by Juvenile. It's not really my thing. I think it's too much auto. Is it auto tune? I think it's too much auto tune.
Ah, okay, okay.
It's okay. But yeah, overall as a series, I think it's pretty good. It's slow. It's slow and methodical in the way that it takes things, but I can only see that as a positive due to the world building.
When you're saying slow and methodical, do you mean like slow and methodical as in it's just a slow life thing, or is it actually trying to build up some sort of uh like multi arc plot?
It's trying to build up the world and the mysteriousness of these dungeons are surrounding it, and it's
Okay.
not. And we're not going at breakneck speed like, oh hey, I'm I
Hey,
evolved
look,
into a
Demon Lord
ghoul,
kind of thing.
and now I've
Yeah.
evolved again, and now I'm evolving again. It's
Hmm.
definitely not something like that, which is I mean, I didn't want to bring it up, but it's not like Monster where he levels up pretty fast and evolves pretty fast, so you don't remember his names and whatnot, the guy's name.
Right.
So he's gonna be I believe he's gonna be a ghoul for a while for that, and I I see that as a positive because it lets the world. I like world building quite a bit, so as
Hmm.
long as it's good world building, and this is good world building around it. So
Hmm.
yeah,
All right. Pretty good.
plenty of
What Mal
time,
rating?
plenty of
Yeah.
time to to experience the world with the main character and his inner monologues about being a ghoul and his thoughts and feelings about the world around him. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's a
All
lot
right.
of focus on the main character and his development.
And yeah, the actual like dungeon building or dungeon
Yeah,
crawling rather. Sorry. But yeah. Okay. Pretty good.
that's kind of why I like this series a lot. Of I
You
guess
usually
of
like all these sorts of like more detailed series, right? More
Yeah,
detailed RPG kind of series. So yeah.
compared to the other skeleton series, I'm not counting Overlord because that doesn't even count. Um, what's the other one where the dude was a
Skeleton Knight in Another World, I think.
yeah, thank you. That's the
Yes.
one where that one it's a lot more lighthearted
Yeah,
because
for sure.
he's not really a skeleton. That was just his character skin that he used. But he already forgot what his original character was. It's like, ho, I'm a skeleton man, but not
Mm.
really. But also, I'm actually a real skeleton man, and he's lighthearted and like, he's maxed out in gear, so he can do whatever he wants. He's overpowered in his world. Very lighthearted romp. This one's
Mhm.
about more serious. It's about building from the ground up and
Okay.
and whatnot. So he wants to become his a mithril ranked adventurer, but he couldn't do that as a weak human. But now that he has the ability to gain and grow experience and evolve as a monster, he can do that now because he mentioned that as a skeleton, it didn't take long for him to gradually become because as beginning as a skeleton, he was like super weak and trying to get back into like the balance of things because he has no muscles. But he still had his skills set, and then like he became the same as he was before he died as a skeleton. But then when he became a ghoul, he noticed that he was a lot stronger than he was as a normal dude. So yeah,
Yeah.
now
Okay.
that he's become a different, got a different body, he's definitely becoming stronger than he was before. So it's not a pipe dream anymore.
Okay. What Mal rating would
Uh,
you give it?
Overall, since I like the series and I like the I like how the anime portrays it, I'm going to give it a solid 8.9 out of 10. Yeah.
8.9 out of 10? Okay. Okay.
What's wrong with the 8.9?
Because it's a 9 out of 10 is very high score, isn't it? Like,
Is it? What's
it's
my
quite
average?
high. Okay.
Is my average not 7?
All right. I forgot
Shouldn't
you
be.
put yeah, 7. I forgot. But yeah, okay. So this is again as so said, this is very slow kind of developing dungeon crawler based high fantasy power fantasy kind of series called this is the Unwanted Undead Adventurer, also known in Japanese as Nozomanu Fushi no Boukensha. This is originally a shousetsu ni naroke web novel that got, I think, adapted into light novel manga, and now the anime, adapted by Connect, part of Silverlink again now. And so, if you do like these sorts of slower development, kind of detailed dungeon crawler RPG world developing kind of series, please do check it out. All right.
Better than Skeleton Knight if you want more world building, that's for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Toast. Now we move on to Dark. What do you have for us? Dark is dead.
Ooh, I was
You know what's
muted. I have a
Oh hell
little
yeah.
series from Games. It's
Yes, this is
called
actually interesting because it's not um other than Uma Musume and like one other series, right? What Side Games hasn't done much, right? If I remember correctly.
as far as animating? No,
Yeah,
I
like
don't
actual
believe so. Let
anime.
me see. Games
And
Pictures.
like, I guess even like just trailers in general and stuff like that. But
So they helped with U149, or did they do all of U149?
which one? Which
They did all
did
of
they do? You
U149. Yeah, they did all of it.
really?
Yeah, that's right. I
Oh,
forgot. Yeah,
because
we covered that.
the reason why I mentioned this was I thought this series that you were gonna cover was going to be sort of their proof of concept, right? It was one of their sort
No,
of,
I
hey,
think
we
this
can
is
do
their.
all
Well,
this
I think
crap.
this is their. I think this is their
Oh,
big
their
one for
3D.
like
It's
for
their 3D
3D for
CG
sure.
proof of
Yeah,
concept.
this is
Yes.
their. This is
They
them
because
being
they
like,
mentioned that. Yeah.
yeah, this is them being like, yeah, we can do CG. And
We
spoiler
have our
alert,
3D
they can.
in-house dicks. Yeah.
So yeah, so this is from Side Games Pictures. This is apparently this says the source is original.
Yeah,
However,
no,
I
it's an
heard
original. It's an anime original.
that there
Yeah.
is a Brave series. So
What
I
does
Then
don't
that
know
even
if this
mean,
is
though?
tied into it.
no,
No, I,
no,
I,
no, no,
I
no,
that
no, no,
this
no.
might be like tied into something like a really old IP.
So no,
I
yeah,
could be wrong.
there is a no. So what it is that there is a very I think there uh, I think there's an artist I think called Kama who had like series design like old mecha designs that he liked to make a long time ago, and they took that and created an entire series off of it. It's kind of like this is
Oh,
not a very respectful comparison. I apologize
I know
in
exactly what
advance.
you're about to say.
But it's like mini skirt pirates, right? Like
Yeah.
they were just like, oh shit, mini skirt pirates, and then they made an entire series off that. But it's similar to that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say to get ahead of this, I would recommend checking this out regardless.
Yes, I would too.
Without spoilers. However, what was really interesting was, as far as I remember, the PV, and this is getting into spoilers now, the PV never showed any of this. Neither does this picture that I used, or the like title picture or anything. Um, but so this series opens up with being a very much a military like mecha series, right? You have our two main
Hmm.
characters, part of like a global defense force thing, um, like basically fucking like a UN with mechs.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, by
and
the way, sorry
our
to
two
interrupt.
mains,
Did you ever mention the full name of the series?
yeah,
I
yeah, it's
think we should. Yeah.
Bang Bravern.
Yes.
Um,
I keep fucking up this name, so I just apologize. I just wanted to get it out of the way. Again, also known in Japanese as Yuki Bakatsu Ban Braver. So yeah, please do go ahead. Sorry.
but yeah, so our two main characters are running a drill, Lewis Smith and Isami Ao. And obviously Isami is Japanese, Smith is an
Yeah.
American. And
And
they're
they
doing
act
like a
like a
joint,
Japanese and American, the
yeah,
stereotypical ones. Yeah.
yeah, and it's kind of great. So they're
Yeah,
doing
it's
like
pretty good.
they're doing this whole like drill essentially in their mechs. Isami like essentially shows himself to be like a really really advanced pilot. Um, and Smith like kind of doesn't want to fall behind. Now,
Yeah.
in the middle of this, however, a big old pillar from space comes flying in, and then aliens just decimate them.
Yes.
Alien space things, like they're like inorganic life forms. They shoot lasers, and a big pillar kind of wipes them out essentially. And so, as the survivors are scrambling, Isami is trying to get one of his squad mates out of her mech before they get, blasted by a laser beam. And then a big super robot comes down in front of him and says, "You should pilot me."
Get
And
inside of me.
yeah, get inside. Well, actually, yeah, I believe his exact words were "get inside of
Yeah.
me." And so that is Bravern. That is the super robot Bravern, and then the series turns into a super robot series. Bravern is a very much he's a very
Bombastic.
stereotypical like hero type. Like he is
It's like one of
exactly
those
what you would
old
expect.
cheesy, like, I'm
Yes.
freaking braver. Yeah, it's bombastic,
Yeah.
is what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like a golden age like hero type
Yep.
thing. Except all of his dialogue is extremely, extremely like gay innuendos. And it's very I enjoy it a lot. I think it's very funny.
It's pretty good. It's
Um
a very distinct contrast from a lot. Obviously, we have a lot of, Sentai stuff, whatever these days, but we still have a very strong current of like Sentai up to this day. But it's a very different contrast from a lot of these other series where it's like all serious, and even in the West you have stuff like Optimus Prime, Transformers stuff where they're all like, oh, we're the Autobots. We gotta, um we got to do all the serious stuff, and this is a very conscious and distinct turn away from that, essentially.
Yeah, this is basically pulling a lot of the characters themselves in the same way out of the quote unquote what you would consider like the real world, and then
Mm.
throwing them into a super robot series, essentially. With a lot of the
Yeah.
ways they react, a lot of the ways they have to now interact with Bravern.
Yeah.
And yeah, from there, there's a lot of like, Isami not being sure if he wants to be the hero,
Mhm.
not like having to deal with the pressure of being the
Mhm.
hero. Smith hasn't really had like a jealousy arc, and I don't think he's going to. He's
Yeah.
just kind of in
Yeah.
awe of Bravern. Because
Yeah.
Smith's backstory essentially is that he is a tokusatsu nerd.
Yeah. It's
He
a little bit
fucking loves
unfortunate.
tokusatsu.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate because it's clear that they want to keep Smith in as a very prominent deuteragonist, doing deuteragonist stuff and helping out in the development of the story, but they're not sure where to go with them without invoking, as you said, the stereotypical why does Isami got to be the hero? Without invoking
Yeah.
that sort of stereotypical arc. And I don't think they want to touch upon that. But obviously, if they don't do that and they just have him as the very innocent wingman, it becomes much harder to develop organically. There are obviously a couple of routes out where um he can not be jealous, but he can still keep facing difficulties and he can just kind of organically grow past that.
Yeah, and
But
so
it is hard. Yeah.
what I think they've done, especially with the most recent episode, they kind of put Smith in this spot where he is like sort of the ultimate wingman, trying to be a hero in his own way. He's a part of now. He's got like a much more advanced mech,
Yeah.
as does like this other core team. And so I think they're kind of like putting him there, and then I think he's going to get another upgrade based on an alien girl that he finds named Lulu.
Mhm.
And so like obviously like, they butt heads with each other, Smith and Isami. And I think like the big shtick, like kind of like the replacement for the jealousy arc was an arc that they do with Smith helping Isami overcome like the pressure of being a hero. Like the pressure of being
Right,
the
right.
hero.
Yeah, I
And so I
really
think they
like
kind of
this
put that
because
in place.
yeah, I really do like this. Although again, I think they probably will need to how do I say this? Mess with Lewis Smith's development in the story or whatever a little bit. Although half
Yeah,
of
I
this
mean
also like our discussion also doesn't matter as much because the point of this series, as it seems very obvious to everybody, is not really the story. It's more just doing mech
I mean
stuff
it's
and then
corny.
just doing
It's
whatever. Yeah.
so
Yeah, yeah. It's
it's
supposed to be corny.
incredibly corny.
Yeah.
I
It's
really
supposed to
like
be
how
like that.
fucking corny
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
they literally so basically what happens is Bravern after liberating the Hawaiian Islands that they were on, doing their training,
Hmm.
and fighting Superbia, another like super robot, like the evil one of the
Yeah.
evil super robots. Um, he's like, all right, we gotta like how should we liberate the rest of the world now, right? Because these pillars landed all over the world.
Mm.
And so they make the decision that they're going to travel east with the rising sun, and liberate like Japan first, because Bravern's whole plan hinges on, wouldn't it be really sick? He's like, don't get me wrong, coming in at the last second with the setting sun, that's pretty badass. But coming in with the rising sun is also really sick. I think we should go with the rising sun, and then we save and then we save the setting sun for last. um
Godlike, to be
yeah, and
honest.
so that's the plan. They are now
Yeah.
traveling around the globe with their forces, surrounding by Bravern, picking up people along the way,
Yeah.
to liberate the rest of the planet from the evil robot menace.
They also
Um,
have like very like they'll do say 10 minutes straight of relatively serious stuff, right? And then in after those 10 minutes, they'll immediately have about 5 seconds, 2 to 5 seconds of this moment where suddenly somebody just goes full Marvel, just like says something whack, like comical, and that is a very interesting addition because you you kind of don't expect it, but you're also like, okay, all right, I'll give it up, kind of at parts. So
Yeah,
it
I
is
mean,
interesting how
especially with
they
the
kind of split it
role.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
especially with the role that Bravern plays, obviously, because there is still the backdrop of like the world being decimated by these aliens.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but they still do center it around like in that sort of grimness. Like here is the super robot. Here is Bravern. Like here is the shining beacon of hope, essentially in every
Exactly.
way. Even in the fact that when Bravern fights, when Bravern poses, he literally has a hologram behind him that brings up his logo that is in universe, that is not just in shots of Bravern, like cuts of Bravern. Actually, let me bring up a picture of him. But that is not like Bravern's logo coming in behind his back, like when he fully transforms, like out of his like plane mode. Like there are scenes in the show where that is there behind him, right? Like Bravern is literally a super robot in the actual like in universe. And played up as that. He has his theme song, like the OP plays in his cockpit, as he fights. So, there's a lot of really fun stuff like that. Um, and yeah, I would say there's not a whole lot else to say about the story right now. It seems like they are going to be fighting these sort of like robot, like almost like the Mega Man, like like robot overlords or whatever. Especially from the
I
OP.
also one thing I would like to add is that despite obviously this series kind of getting a boost in evaluation, or it not having, it's harder to sort of give this series a bad grade because it's so obviously supposed to be super corny and having some serious interconnected story that all does make sense and blah 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 is not the point of this story, clearly, to begin with, especially when they started out this entire project by being like, yeah, this series is pretty much just a flex art 3D CG muscle thing. But um what was surprising to me was that after Bravern came down, I guess spoiler alert, but after Bravern came down and Isamiya did some adventures or had a 1 or 2 episodes, there was also that thing where Isami and the relationship, obviously, as you said, Isami coming to grips with how to be a hero and him reacting much more differently to with Smith, right? In some scenes. That was not something I had expected. And and in my opinion, I thought that was much more interesting and much more of a unique variant that was still relatively organic compared to some of the other stuff that I've seen with similar structure, right? Because a lot of times these MCs, to get it, they once they get into these mechs and they go through these stories, they go through a very standard emotional evolution of what if I can't do it? And they have like 1 or 2 episodes where they become a little bit moody and they're just like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, they're in the cockpit and everything's failing. And then they have the episode and then they have the moment where it's just like, no, I can't do it, blah, blah. But there's not much in between other than that. And that makes it kind of flat. But I'm glad that there was a lot more uh, development, especially outside of the battle scenes, for the main characters in Bravern than I had expected, and that was a very welcome change, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think what we do have coming up is I think, I mean, obviously Lulu is like related to the villains in some way. So it's kind of like to be seen what role she plays, because she is like attached at the hip with Smith. Smith in the OP, there is like a weird sort of like angel mech that he's like raising his hand towards. So I'm wondering if he's going to be going to get on like his almost like his own through Lulu, like his own mech.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like a shot of her with like some weird necklace. So, obviously like, there's a lot of foreshadowing going on of like, or anticipation of like, what is going to be sort of like the penultimate thing for Smith. But overall, like I said, like the story, I would describe it as like it's more like a movie than it is like a sort of series, I feel like, if that makes sense, in like pacing.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's kind of just throwing you into the world, the plot, and then it's kind of just pretty evenly paced, like keeping up with progressing through the story. And this is also a 12 episode series, so I'm not sure if this is gonna finish in 12 episodes, and if they plan on doing like a second core or something. I mean, at least on Mall it
I
says
feel like
12 episodes as
they'd
well.
have
So
to. It would be best, and not best for the story, but it'd probably be best for the project that they finish it in 12 episodes, right? Because again, this is not tied to a franchise or anything. They are literally this is again.
I mean,
This is proof of concept stuff.
I just don't know how, considering like by episode 6, they haven't even finished liberating Japan yet. Like where they're gonna go from here, right? That's why,
Yeah.
like, because like the OP, like I said, the OP shows like 6 or 7 robot lord silhouettes or whatever, and we've met one.
Yeah.
It's episode 6, so it's like, I don't know. Like obviously they could like start really picking up the pace. But it's definitely to be seen as to like how they do that.
Yeah. So
But
can we
do you believe there will be a Gatai scene? They have all those robots, right? Why don't they Gatai? They
Because
have
they're
to.
evil. Maybe the evil.
They have to.
so
But yeah,
can we
beyond,
can we go into maybe oh wait, were you
I was just gonna
sorry.
say beyond
You want
the story, I guess, to talk about what Cygames is doing with this, and this being like a
Yes.
proof of concept for CG.
Yes.
Huh.
Sorry, did you I think you your mic, something happened with your mic here?
Oh yeah, my NVIDIA broadcast broke. 1 second.
I'm just saying, if you have all those robots and they don't combine it in any way, that's a huge wasted opportunity.
Yeah, they probably, I think in the last 2 episodes or so, maybe in the last episode, they'll probably merge. There will probably be some sort of merge, I think. This
Because,
series is too corny to not do that, I think.
or at least if they don't combine into, if they don't combine with Bravern, they should Gatai with themselves. Because even in Galgaigar, the lesser robots, they fuse together. Why not?
Dude, I literally,
Yeah,
I have no idea what just happened. I think the audio, I think our volume just changed because I like touched my microphone and it unplugged.
but is it okay now though?
I
But
mean, it's loud for me. I don't know about the stream. I'm checking right now. It sounds like okay on stream.
yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just continue then.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I'll
I
just have to
think
deal with it,
yeah.
more or less.
Yeah. But you were talking about that this was essentially announced as a proof of concept on whether Cygames could deliver on
On
their
like a
with their
lot of
in-house
CG, heavy CG, I
3D
believe.
CG. Yeah.
Right. So
And what is your verdict?
I think they do. I think they do a
Yeah.
really, I think they do a really good
I saw it.
job.
Yeah.
For what it is, it looks all right. It's not.
The
Could still be some work. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I think they're kind of a cut above most. I think their
Yeah.
blending is kind of the most impressive thing to me. I think they do a really good job with how their CG is blended. I think the sort of biggest thing that I would say is the opening, or not the opening, the PV was not a looker. Right, that scene was really not a
Yeah.
looker, and it's weird. Like, I guess maybe they wanted to like keep it under wraps or whatever, but like the fact that like this part like wasn't front and center with like Bravern and the other robots fighting and stuff in some of the Japan scenes. Bit of a shame because I think their CG blending is very, very nice. Obviously you still tell it's CG, but you know, I think it looks good. I don't think it looks very rough. Some of the animations obviously they could use a little bit of work.
I
But I
kind of
think
don't
they're
like how thick the lines are in the CG.
yeah, I mean it's
It
definitely
looks a
is
bit jarring compared to the 2D because the 2D has pretty thin lines, but then the CG happens and the lines are like super fucking thick.
yeah. It's just I think they're what would you call it? I guess you would say they're shaders. I think they're shaders like for the CG itself do. Like I don't think like when you see ugly CG, I think one of the first like one of the most jarring things about it is usually like the textures they use for the actual CG models is usually like either too detailed or doesn't really match the any sort of like anime like shading or something like that. And I think they do a pretty decent job here. So, yeah, I think it looks good. And yeah, overall, I think it's solid. I think it's a good showing, especially with
Yeah.
like the potential to see, you know, if they're gonna do like smaller bits, a show with like less CG, their use of CG, I'd be more confident in that.
Yeah, I think they did obviously a pretty solid job in this project, and I liked also how the script slash storyboard team was also actually putting in some non-insignificant amount of effort to make the story while being corny somewhat sensible. You know what I mean? Which is again a little bit unexpected for this, but it created a nice synergy with what was going on here to give us a good old corny, romping good time.
Speaking
Right.
of a good time, talk about the opening and ending.
I like them. I think the OP is very fun. It's got a very nice ballad. Very cheesy. It's not like, you know, visually it's not like there's a ton going on, but the song is very, very fun. The ED is insane. An insane person made the ED. And it's very gotchy things going on. It's like another like what would you call it? Like I guess it's another ballad essentially between Isumi and Smith. And for some reason they're like taking their shirts off in the rain. Like it's very gay. But it's a lot of fun, which also I guess you should I guess to say as well, this series like while it has a lot of that, it also does have a very good amount of like girls too, especially
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they like meet up with the second group in episode 6 like so you know everyone's got a little bit of something going on.
yeah. All right. Okay, so any, I guess, last words on the series, and what would you rate it?
I would just highly recommend checking it out. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's just going to be a very, very fun series to go through. And
Mhm.
I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. You know, I don't think this is going to. This will probably make like. I mean, obviously, we're only 2 months into the year. Not even. But like, not even. You know, full season done. But this is definitely going to be a contender for like pleasant surprise.
Mhm.
Obviously, it's not gonna be like my favorite of the year or anything. I don't
Yeah.
think. If it did, then this year would be
would be pretty bad.
dire. This would be a dire year.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like
Yeah,
this, but
yeah,
but this is something I would like. I would personally give like an 8 or something, right? Like,
yeah. Me too. I'd be very surprised. Again, it knows where its lane is, and not only does it do it quite well, but it also tries to go above and beyond, pretty
Right.
decently. So, yeah. All right. So, all right, and that was again, Bang Brave Bang Braver. Sorry for not being able to pronounce this or say the title like
Unrelated
any.
to Bang Dream.
Yes,
Yeah.
not idols. So this is again Bang Brave Burn, also known as Yuki Bakatsuban Brave Ban. So this is an anime original done by Side Games, pretty much all in house, I think. Animated by Side Games Pictures, done with the 3D CG in house. They wanted to see how it would roll, and obviously it turned out pretty freaking successfully. So please do check it out. Again, note that this is a very corny, very cheesy, just they threw all in terms of at least the story and the settings of the design, stuff like that, they just threw everything at the wall. They threw everything at the wall. So, please do check it out if you like this sort of stuff. All right. Thank you, Dark. And I guess I'll go next here. This is going to be one of the series. Oh wait, no, sorry. Near. Do you want to go next?
Sure. Speaking of anime originals, I watched Bucchigiri,
Yes.
also
This
known
is
as Bucchigiri.
yes.
Um,
This is the Mappa series
yeah,
of the season,
this
also
is
known
Studio
as
Mappa.
the artist torturers themselves. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
death camp runners.
Yeah.
This is again anime original. This is a sort of comedy action like school battle thing. I'm not really gonna go over the like synopsis or anything, because as we'll get into later, not much happens in the show. I'm gonna go over the staff first, because I think the staff on this are pretty wild. This is Hiroko Utsumi directing. He is I think it's a he, percent sure, but they're a former Kiwani staffer. They previously directed a good handful of episodes for a series like Hyoka, Nichijo. They also directed Free season 1 and 2. They also directed Banana Fish, and they also created and directed Skate the Infinity.
Damn. What? Okay.
And then this also has Taku Kishimoto doing script, series composition, and he's the original creator as well. He's previously done script and series composition for Haikyuu, pretty much the entire series. Magi, Sinbad no Boken. He's worked on Gintama for a very long time. He also did series composition for Osama Ranking. And for animation directing and character design, which I think is also another relatively important position for a series with fucking weird ass character designs like this.
Mhm.
Hiroyuki Saita, who's previously worked on Chainsaw Man, Dance 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 Sure, Mushoku Tensei, and stuff like Review Starlight, Made in Abyss, etc.
Do you know if Utsumi and Kishimoto have they participated together in any other series, especially any other Mappa series, or is this their first time? Do you know?
As far as I can see, this is. I'm pretty sure this is their first time working together.
Okay. So Utsumi was sort of the I'm guessing, yeah. So Utsumi is sort of the initial guy that was drafted by Mappa. He's been doing a couple of Mappa series after his stint at Kyoani, right? Done a couple of Mappa series, but he's the one that pulled up, I guess, Kishimoto, right, and some of the others.
More than
So yeah.
likely, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. So it's a pretty stacked staff, right?
Mhm.
Mappa's got a decent amount of talent working on this, and I'm just gonna say straight up, this show is ass. This show is not good.
All the chefs in the kitchen couldn't produce one good thing.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I'll just start off with the basic, like, general setup, and that's kind of as far as the show goes, right? So there's six episodes out. Keep that in mind. I watched all of them.
uh-huh.
So the series starts off with our main character, Adajin Tomoshibi, who has recently transferred to his new school, and the town that he's, I guess, moving back to is the town that he grew up in. And the school is like weird and fucked up, and everybody in it is like a delinquent, and they're constantly like getting into fist fights and shit. And Adajin is like not interested in that. All he cares about is meeting a cute girl, and getting laid. And he meets a cute girl, and her name is Mahoro Jin. And she puts on this sort of, interested lovey-dovey act, but it's actually, just sort of a ploy to get her brother, which is sort of one of the leaders of one of the gangs at the school, to basically beat Adajin up. And that happens, and he gets his heart broken, and then he ends up getting like chased around and he basically finds a genie, right? And he wishes his one wish is to lose his virginity, and in order to grant that wish, the genie, like, makes him strong sometimes. He can punch really hard. And that's
Isn't that sort of main character setting similar to Chainsaw Man shit? It's like, is that what they're
yeah.
trying to compare it
So
here? Yeah.
so there's some definite parallels, right? And I think what I'll say is, if you remember back when Chainsaw Man was coming out, right? One of the big discourses was around how Denji, the main character of Chainsaw Man, is like, people were sort of lamenting him as like, oh, he's like one-dimensional or whatever, because his like motivation at the start of the series is like to touch boobs, right? Basically, like he wants to fuck, right? But people sort of ignored the other aspects of Denji's character, like, the fact that he's genuinely a good person, and he has like this eternal like innocence about him due to how he was, raised, and he constantly wants to help people and save people or whatever, right? This main character has none of that. He has literally none of that at all. Literally, all he cares about is getting pussy. He is pathetic as fuck. He doesn't care about, being stronger or being a good person. Literally, he is a fucking slimy worm.
Corn dog.
His best friend, quote unquote, his alleged best friend, is in one of the gangs, and like his best friend has the motivation of like becoming stronger to sort of like be this weird like urban myth that they have. I don't even remember what it's fucking called. But it's basically like, uh, like, you know, a warrior basically, right? Like the strongest warrior or whatever. And the main character, basically constantly fucking berates his best friend and calls him a loser and a stupid idiot, and he's childish. And all his best friend ever does is like, no, Adajin's a good guy. He's a good person. and he's like constantly talking up this dude, and literally all he ever does is fucking backstab him and fucking betray him and abandon him and like two-time him, and it's like this guy's a piece of shit. Like he's actually a fucking garbage person, and there's like nothing likable about him. And then you have like the female, like quote unquote love interest, who is literally a fucking snake. Like she's constantly fucking manipulating the main character with like, you know, um like fake gestures of affection to get him to do stuff that she wants. And it's like, she's like constantly showing her true colors to this dude, and he's still like, no, I love her though. I want to be with her. And it's like there's like nobody in this series outside of like the main character's best friend who's actually like a decent person who like when they're on
Oh,
screen
what?
you like root for them. Like nobody in this series is like, somebody that you want to like even see on the screen. It's actually fucking unreal how unlikable all of these characters are. And pretty much all of them are fucking insane cliches. They're super over the top. Like they're constantly overreacting all the fucking time. Um like this show is almost insufferable. Like just
Y-
straight up.
Yeah, I think also the fans, partly Mappa fans and partly just idiots, are also pretty insufferable from what I'm reading. Do you want to read some of that review that I just posted here? They're like
Which one?
the one
God.
that I just posted. Yeah,
Oh, this one?
I
Yeah, I saw
yeah.
this one. Where it's
I
like
won't
this
even
dude's trying to
attempt to
like,
properly. Yeah.
yeah, like this isn't even like, yeah, here, I'll read this. I'm here to spread the message. I won't even attempt to properly review this. This is a review, by the way. Shit's only 3 episodes at the time of writing, and it could easily slip into oblivion at any moment. For now, however, it delivers. That's a fucking straight up lie, by the way. Yes, neither the setup nor the premise are particularly enthralling. Yes, the presentation can be rather tacky with the artistic choices they made. Yes, it isn't anything extraordinary, but it's something. It's
Do
something, people.
you want to read the
Um,
last sentence too?
yeah. Yep, this might very well be the best show of this season, which is a lie. Sure, Dungeon Meshi might be technically better, which
Quote
it
unquote.
is in pretty much every way, but it doesn't grab me by the cock nearly as firmly as Bucchigiri does. I don't know what he means by that, other than like he's gay and he just is like extremely horny for the designs in this show. But like, um, there's nothing really like fan servicey or like,
Or gripping in any way.
yeah.
Gripping.
Like pretty much all the characters in this series are like extreme like caricatures and tropes that kind of just like slap against each other without any sort of concern or like hint of like chemistry or um character interaction or like actual comedy. It's kind of just like people screaming at each other all the time. um and yeah, I've seen some people sort of compare this to like early 90s like shonen. I don't really know where they get that from other than
What? Okay.
the like, I guess attempt at like slapstick comedy and the sort of like perverted MC, which I guess we don't
Yeah.
really see all that often anymore. Um but like even like perverted MCs like say Ataru, right, from Urusei Yatsura, who in that series is like depicted as scum, right? Like he's depicted as a fucking low life loser with like no redeeming qualities. Um, Even Ataru you can root for infinitely more than this MC. Like he's a wimp, he's a coward, um, he's a fucking simp for a woman that is like just straight up a bitch, like just a horrible person. And like all of the character interactions in this series are straight up confusing. Like the one character that's like kind of has the main character's back and is like looking out for him and like wants it, like, to be his friend. The main character like shouts at him and tells him to go away and that he doesn't like him. And it's like, I don't understand. All of these characters that are like outwardly antagonistic to the main character, he's like, no, I want to hang out with you actually. I want to hang out with these guys. But the main character's best friend, who he's like, hey man, um, I want to spend time with you. I think you're cool. I think you're awesome. He's like, no, I hate you. You're stupid. You're dumb. And it's like, why? Like, like, do you just want the audience to fucking hate this main character? I don't understand. But yeah, it's
think
just not fun to watch.
I think Bucchigiri is a very good example of how you can have people that are related to obviously, popular and nice series, right? And they wrote out this, they helped with the storyboard and the scripting and whatever, or art, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? Right? And they can be involved with all of that, but when it comes to original anime, that suddenly, you know, the carpet gets pulled out from underneath them and they just crumple to the ground, right? And it's a little bit unfortunate because there's a difference between being involved with good series and material and story and everything, right? And actually creating that world piece by piece, character by character, arc by arc, episode by episode, right? And I think this is a consequence of it, right? They've been involved with so many of these storyboards and directing and how the anime adaptation is going to go of these of these great series like Banana Fish, like K-On, like whatever, right? But when it comes time to make this original series, they're just like, oh, what do we do? Chainsaw Man, maybe? And then it's just, the rest is history, right? So it, it is very unfortunate, I think I will say, that this happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand like what they were going for. Again, this has gotten like 6 episodes in, and the main character hasn't developed even remotely. If anything, he gets worse as the
Is
series
this
goes
mini
on.
arcs? This is mini arcs, right? Or what's going on?
So the main arc throughout like the first 6 episodes, this is a
Yeah.
12 episode series, by the way.
God
So the
damn.
first half of the series is the main arc is essentially the main character transfers to the school, right? The main character's best friend like implores him to join like the same sort of gang that he is in, and the main character fucking backstabs him and joins the rival gang, because that's the gang that like the girl's brother is in, right? And he wants to get close to the girl. So he backstabs his fucking friend by doing that. And then the gangs sort of get set up into like a gang war by this third gang that's um like stealing money from people all across town or whatever for like no particular reason. It's not really described at all as to why. But they sort of get like, baited into fighting each other by this third gang. And then that happens, and then everybody sort of realizes it's a setup, but then they fight anyway for no real fucking reason at all. And then the main character has to fight the leader of the third gang, because and the keep in mind, the only reason the main character decides to fight at all is because the the girl stands up for her brother who is injured, and the leader of the third gang like hurts the girl, and that's the only reason that the main character decides to fight. And keep in mind, during this fight, his best friend is about to be murdered, killed, like just straight up killed, murdered. And the only reason the main character decides to fight is because the girl gets like lightly slapped. But yeah, like that happens, and that's like the end of episode 6. So like that's the first half of the series. Like the main character is a piece of shit. He gets a genie. The genie does fucking nothing for 6 episodes, and then the main character punches one dude in the face, and it's like,
Nice.
fuck, man. Like, yeah, nothing fucking happens in the show. It's a bunch of people just being like really fucking annoying, trying to do like slapstick comedy bits. Yeah, it's really
Yo,
just
that's what you need, right? That's what makes Chainsaw Man good. You
yeah,
need the
true.
asshole guy who wants pussy. You need the slapstick that, related to everybody being assholes. You need some maybe Kenshi, Kenshi, and then you need Mappa. That's that easy viral anime right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll quickly go over the audio visuals. They're pretty good. I mean, there are
Mhm.
some fight scenes in this that are really well choreographed, I think. Um, their color palette is pretty nice. The backgrounds, I think, in this are pretty cool. They've got the vibe for this show is weird. It's got like this almost like Indian, like Bollywood kind of like background color palette with like,
Okay.
you know, um, sort of like these brown um, streets kind of covered with like green and like bright red rooftops and stuff. Um, the music as well sort of accompanies this sort of like, I guess Indian sort of inspired stuff. I guess it's because they're working with like genies and stuff, but um, yeah, the OP is okay, kind of boring. The ED is a little bit cuter, but the visuals don't really make any sense at all and don't really vibe at all with anything that the series is trying to do. Because the ED sort of hints at this weird like love triangle thing where everyone is fawning over the girl. But that doesn't happen at all in the series, so I'm not really sure why it's in the ED.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know. This series is really confusing to me. I don't really know who it's for. Um, there's like no, it's like all boys, right? But there's no like, there's not even a remote like hint of um like fan service. You know what I mean? Like Fujoshi fan service or anything. Like there's no like sort of BL undertones or anything. It's kind of just like dudes that are like, yeah, I like fighting. Um,
This is only for aggressive ace people.
yeah,
It's their only
I don't
market.
know. Um, yeah, the show is really confusing. I really I can't I genuinely can't recommend it. I think this show is kind of ass. Um, but yeah, I'd probably give it like 4 out of 10. Um, yeah, I'd say not good overall.
Okay. Yeah. Unfortunate, but again, as I said before, this is I think a very prime example of what happens off when an anime original is made with the force of a bunch of creators who have been involved with a bunch of good works and have done good work, but kind of come to grips with the fact that perhaps they themselves are not the best creators of said worlds, right? Because it's one thing to adapt an anime for a known classic work, and it's another to actually capture that lightning in a bottle, to actually make that classic work, right? So again, very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, thank you very much. Again, this is Bucchigiri, an anime original by Mappa Studios. I believe this is the only Mappa series of this season, right? They didn't do anything else?
Um,
Yeah.
Forget actually.
I
Yeah.
think is Jujutsu still going? I don't know, but
Oh, it might be.
either
Oh.
way.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Nier. And I will start off here with my series, which is another big one that was talked about, I guess, in the build up to the season, which is Ishura. So, quick synopsis here. In a world where the Demon King has died, a host of demigods capable of felling him have inherited the world. A master fencer who can figure out how to take out their opponents with a single glance. A lancer so swift they can break the sound barrier. A wyvern rogue who fights with 3 legendary weapons at once. An all-powerful wizard who can speak thoughts into being. An angelic assassin who deals instant death. Eager to attain the title of quote-unquote true hero, these champions each pursue challenges against formidable foes and spark conflicts among themselves. Battle to determine the mightiest of the mighty begins. Yeah, so that's the premise. This is a light novel original written by Keiso. He did some other manga before, like this, that were based upon sort of isekai likes, high fantasy, power fantasy stuff, um, battle stuff. Like out, I think one of his manga was called Outrageal, which was I think an isekai series with heroine that was based around this yakuza theme or whatever, and also another sort of battle royale isekai kind of stuff called the Exodrive Reincarnation Games, All Japan Isekai Battle Tournament, which from the
Wow.
title itself, obviously you can tell, very.
Original?
I'll try. I'll try to be charitable here. Very interesting line of thought for an author, right? So this was adapted by Ishura, rather, was adapted by Passione, known for their works with stuff like Rail Wars. They started off with stuff like Rail Wars Interest. Obviously, more recently, they've done stuff like Higurashi remakes. They're also doing the upcoming Spice and Wolf sequel, which looks pretty decent in the trailers here. And they got a decent amount of art help from subcontractors and Goofy Studios and Sans again, and the staff mainly does reflect that sort of balance here. They did art. They have obviously other subcontractors helping as well, but it's mostly from Goofy and Sans. They they did. Let's see, sorry. Yeah. So the chief director here is Takashi Takeo, who was part of the the Passione team for Citrus. He did Roku no Yusha, I think, Roku of the Six Blades with Passione as well. But he also headed Akisora, Maoyu, uh, the original 2 seasons of Spice Wolf, I think, and Yosuke no Sora, which is a very interesting resume, to be sure.
Yeah.
But here he is. And obviously, he's going to be heading the next Spice Wolf. So he's pretty much in the thick with Chief Director. The other people are also kind of um, from some of the other Passione projects, such as Ogawa Yuki, who did Nier will love this. FLCL Progressive Interspecies Reviewers, and he also helped
Wow.
Passione with Miyaruko-chan.
Wow,
And
that
the
is a
series
pedigree.
That's a fucking rap
Get-
sheet if I ever heard one.
gets even better. And the series composition and scriptwriter is Ihara Kenta, who did FLCL Alternative Shoegaze series composition and
Wow.
scriptwriting, and helped out again as well as Yojo Senki, Shachipato, and Isekai Oji-san scriptwriting during the anime adaptation. And obviously, again, help with a lot of other veterans and the like from various Passione connections. Music done by Tokuda Masahiro, who did stuff for more recent stuff for Bullbuster, as well as Platinum End, so on and so forth. So yeah, so that's the major makeup, and I want to say a lot of money probably went, a decent amount of money probably went to this, the staff as well as the audio visuals, but also so much money went into the the voice acting cast. So much money. I think this is arguably the biggest, I guess, prominent name list of voice actors and actresses that I've seen in at least the last couple of years. So, Ueda Reina, Kaji Yuki, Oscar Akio, Yuki Aoi, Fukuyama Jun, Yamada Del Koichi, Noto Mamiko, Okamoto Nobuhiko, Takashi Rie, Romy Park, Miki Shinichiro, Morikubo Shotaro,
Wow.
Amamiya Sora, Koyasu Takeito, Tomokazu Sugita, Horie Yui, Hanamori Yumiri. And they have like they're pulling in people like what is it, Hasegawa Ikumi, Asami Seto, and Hidaka Rinai as like supporting characters, just like in random episodes. It is silly. This cast is the silliest fucking cast that I've seen for an anime of this caliber in, I want to say, probably in the last at least 3 years, if not more. So that's sort of the voice acting cast. I was very surprised when I saw this. It was not something I had expected for sure. The OPED just, I think what was it? Shura, I think the opening theme is called Shura ni Otoshite by Sajo no Hana. It was okay, not really my vibe, but it was more affected by the general series than anything else. I know Hakka, I think Konomi Suzuki, the ending theme was a little bit better. Both of them were pretty standard anime-song opening things. I wasn't too impressed by the composition. Obviously, the singing was pretty good. It is nothing very impressive, I would say, in terms of the actual instrumentals themselves. Let's see that. So yeah, and the audio visuals themselves, I was not really impressed with the OST. The animation, the battle scenes were okay, but it wasn't anything that really popped out to me. It wasn't like again something like Bravern or Free Roam where I was like looking at it. Oh, this is like what they try to go for. This they try to animate it. Wow, this is pretty kind of thing. It was very standard. Again, they put a lot of money more into the battle scenes, and the animation is relatively fluid. But again, like nothing that that was eye popping. Say. So that's it for the staff and the audio visuals, and I'm just gonna go into the story. The story is, and I'm gonna say it straight up. So this was set up to be, or not set up. This is going to be a battle royale anime, and as it is, not only a battle royale anime, but an isekai battle royale. As it is, that is already wearing my temperature. Like even before I get into this anime, it's going to be a battle royale series, and it doesn't. It's just not a working formula. Okay, it's not a good formula. So I'm already coming into this tempered expectations, and the tournament aside, the initial setup is the standard kind of thing that you see during battle royale series, where they episode by episode, arc by arc, they set up each of the characters. Right, they show the backgrounds of the characters, focusing on some. First is about the main girl as well as the weak main girl as the one of the sort of demigods slash super strong guys called Yagyu Sojiro, which is Japanese. Like, so he's like a Japanese master swordsman who can like cut through anything and all that crap. And then they go through other stuff. They have Dragon Wyvern guy. They have Hoshiase Alice or whatever. Alice the Star Runner. He's like a dragon dude who can wield through whatever stuff like. And it's like all this uh or sorry, not the what was the Lancer, right? Sorry. So he has that. The what is it? Kia, the I don't the girl that like can like speak words and like whenever she speaks, kind of the world changes with her or whatever. And they introduce these series one by one, these characters one by one, and each of these characters have their own backstories and stories per episode. And the episode is usually centered around the how sort of the people around them react to the characters having this superpower, right? And them being all this almighty being, and how they themselves deal with this power, right? Whether they're battle hungry, whether they want to protect others, whether they've accepted this sort of eventuality of everybody around them kind of being regular humans while they're the superhuman, all this sort of stuff. Very standard in terms of these sorts of character developments. And yeah, that's been pretty much all that's been going on for 5 episodes, and then the 6th episode or so is sort of the starting of when they start gathering all these characters together for the battle tournament. Um, my opinion in this is that none of the character interact. Well, there's a couple of like that. None of these character interactions that I've seen, like, oh, I'm battle hungry. I just Japanese swordsman, or like um what is it? Just like, oh, I'm like super powerful, and then the people around me are kind of like jealous and they want to do XYZ or whatever. None of these interactions that I've seen so far, and seen and read a little bit about so far, are very unique or interesting. So it's one thing to have these characters in develop within a battle royale story, just to give the viewer, just to connect the viewers with the character. But these character developments actually need to be unique and engaging. It can't just be like, oh, I'm just an ass. Oh, I'm being surrounded by friends that are jealous or whatever. This is not, or like, oh, I'm just facing the eventuality of bubble mortality in front of me, crap like that. Eh, I'm not that particularly enamored by these standard developments, and whatever these character developments tend to be, they need to be more unique, I think, at least more uncommon, right? And for them to, else I'm kind of like, why am I watching this? Why am I watching Ishura? Why am I not watching any other sort of journey series where people are just interacting with each other and coming to grips with, their various human flaws, right? Why am I watching the character episodes in Ishura when I could be watching, Majo no Tabi Tabi, right? Or Kino no Tabi or Spice and Wolf or whatever. And I think uh, Utsumi Hiroko kind of tried to, well, not Utsumi Hiroko, what the saying? Uh, sorry, the chief director, right? Um, Takashi Takeo, right? He tried to put too much of his prior experience in creating these like storyboarding, kind of emphasize too much this sort of like episodic character aspect, and it kind of as honestly, I'm gonna be very blunt. When he was trying to do this sort of omnibus style series with Yosuga no Sora, he wasn't very good at it either. Like, it was Yosuga no Sora, the way the anime adaptation panned out, and it kind of pictured sort of various routes on various, right? It was not very well done. And I don't think he's improved that much in his handling of Ishida. It's unfortunate, but it is what. And second, I think the pace, again, much like how Yosuke no Sora's sort of omnibus episode handling was done, is also very poorly done. We cannot be halfway through the series. I think this is 12 episode series, and it's already just like, okay, well, we've introduced some of these characters, and then we've introduced kind of these characters, and then we're kind of going to a battle tournament, except we also have to handle this, the various kind of tensions between each of the characters, and we have to actually pull the characters together, right? We can't have just various demigods or various like superheroes or superpowered characters far apart from each other. We need to pull them together so they can actually form one coherent story, and then we need to take these group of people, push them towards the battle tournament where they have the battle royale. So neither of these things are being done very pacing. Again, episode 6, now they're barely starting to kind of come towards each other, and that's just not going to work in an anime adaptation. They're going to need to start fucking chopping off heads very, very soon. So that's sort of B, point B. The pacing is poorly done. And C, I just and this is a little bit more of a jab at the source material. I just don't see the point of it. I just, it's a very the tone is just not working out with how the premise is kind of going. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just why, God damn it. It's just this whole battle royale thing is so. This is why I hate it, right? It's like all these characters are trying to have their own serious development. And let's say in an alternate timeline, they have these unique organic developments. They all came together and they were talking with each other like Yagi was talking with like Kia and having all these interactions made sense and were nice and whatever and developed the characters organically. Okay. And then instead of developing that and maybe like foreshadowing some, evil or foreshadowing some truth of the world that they have to solve or doing some statecraft or whatever, you throw them into a battle royale. Like, what the fuck did you just do? It's just you took all this quality character development, this like meat, prime, juicy marbled beef, and you just threw it into the meat grinder to make a ham. This is what you did. You took you took wagyu beef, you put it into the meat grinder so you can make your fucking sausage. And the battle royale just diffuses any sort of seriousness that I had approaching these sorts of characters in the first place. Because at the end of the day, they're just gonna be like, yeah, I had all these relations, but you know what? I'm gonna need to fucking kill each. We're just gonna need to fucking kill each other. And it's like, what the fuck, guys? So, I I just don't know why this battle royale had to be a thing in the story, other than the fact that the author really, really likes to do battle royale series. And it's just very frustrating because maybe this series, the characters could maybe have been salvaged if they were pulled together after their initial character settings and kind of made to kind of nuzzle next to each other and talk it out and have these character dialogues. But no, it's just gonna be battle royale. It's like, okay, well,
True.
sure. Battle royale solve everything, I guess.
True.
It's
I mean, battle
so fucking
royale is the
frustrating.
key to success, as we've seen
Yeah.
time and again.
Oh my god. It's like, oh my god, why would you do this? Why would you do this to a not a perfectly good, but like a decent-ish setup? It's just very. And so there's really not much to talk more about the anime in general because it's again this at a point where all the character most the main character kind of cast has been fleshed out, or initially kind of the baseline has been laid out, and now they're kind of hurtling towards each other to make the story more coherent or less episodic. But again, there's the looming threat, literary dagger of the battle royale coming up, and it's just so depressing to even think about. I don't see a reason to read or watch this series. I just don't know, man. It's like the character development isn't done very well, so or is it's not very unique and it's not like done particularly well along that line. So you might as again well go watch some other series. Uh, again, something like Majin Tabi Tabi, something like Natsume Yujincho, Spice and Wolf, whatever. There's the pacing is shitty, so even if again in this alternate timeline there was good character development and it wasn't a battle royale or whatever, it would still be a subpar anime. And it's a fucking battle royale anime. So there are zero reasons to watch any part of this really. Maybe if you want to jack off to the swordsman character or like the various like superpower scenes in series, but I don't know. Other than that, it's really depressing. There's not much. I think I would rate this a. Yeah, I would rate this a 2. Like I cannot give it any higher than that. It's like there's no point in watching. Sorry. I hate this shit, man.
How are the
But
visuals?
the visuals, I think I said it a little back, but it's like the battle scenes and like when the actual like powers come into being are pretty good. They are obviously like saving a lot of the frames for that. But it's not something that is distinctly impressive in like a technical sense or like at terms of like scale. You know what I mean? It's not something like a Violet Evergarden or like a Phase Zero where you're or UBW where you're like shit. Like
Yeah.
this is tops. And it's also not a technical limit pushing thing like an Orange Studio series. Um, it's like it does an okay job. I wouldn't say it's eye-popping impressive. So that's all I had to say about the series. Again, like despite it having those solid visuals, I can't give the series any higher than 2 or maybe a 2.5, but it's hard. There's no justification for watching the series. Sorry. But yeah, that was Ishura, again, done by Passione. This is a light novel original. Okay, so I forget if this is a web novel original. It probably is. I don't really give a fuck. Yeah. And we'll move on right to the news here then. So, again, there's a lot of news other than even just the stuff that are going to be listed. So, we're going to be covering some of that in this news. We're going to be covering that some in the callouts. Really going through quickly. Boy and the Heron wins more awards. You guys already knew that. They win all the awards. Shonen Jump Plus, which is this is a manga website that does like I think like digital publications of manga. They've been at it for quite a while. A lot of famous manga and anime adaptations of manga that you know today have come from Shonen Jump Plus works. It is launching a new manga award named Kimi no Tsuyomi, Kimi no Tsuyomi dake shinsa 1点評価 manga show. Judging you purely on your strength, manga award evaluating just one thing. The award claims that judges will evaluate manga only on their strong points, even if it only has one strength, even if other elements of it are dissatisfactory. The award will have 6 categories, namely art, planning, story, layout, character, and originality. Judges will pick more than 3 winners for each category, each awarded 50,000 yen or about $330.
Wow.
The award will also have a quote-unquote special serialization, which will guarantee a serialization on Shonen Jump, as well as a 200,000 yen about, which is around 1,300 US dollar prize. The judges will pick more than one winner for this category. So, like, honestly, obviously all of our previous misgivings about award stuff aside, right? I do like this idea, to be honest, like the premise of this award. You know what I mean? Because it's like, fuck it, we'll just do this, and then they just kind of give them a little bit of money at least. But
I
it
like
is
the
interesting.
idea. I like the idea of like them specifying they're like, yeah, even if your
all
even
this
if your
shit,
story is straight fucking dog shit, if your
yeah,
art
yeah,
is good,
yeah.
go for it, man.
Yeah. Or if like you made like an interesting you know how Calvin Hobbes was infamous for doing like very interesting like storyboarding, like very
Yeah,
specific. Yeah, it's like if your layout is like really interesting,
yeah.
then good job, you get $330 kind of thing. I like that. I like that, to be honest. And final piece of award news here is that the Tokyo Anime Award Festival, also known as TAF, announced the winners of its Animation of the Year awards for works and individuals on Thursday. The winners of the individual awards are as follows. So The winner for original work and screenplay goes to Inoue Takehiko, who made the original Slam Dunk, Real, and Vagabond. The the director category obviously again went to the same, who because he also was the director and screenwriter for first Slam Dunk, which was became very famous, yeah, especially overseas as well. Animated category, animator category went to Honda Takeshi, who was the chief animation director for Evangelion 3.0, as well as Denno Coil. Background coloring category went to Nakazawa Daiki, who did the first Slam Dunk again. And sound performance category went to Yosobi, who did the openings for Season 2 of Beastars, Oshinoko, Free Ren, and Mobile Suit Gundam, The Witch from Mercury. Yeah, congratulations to them. Some company news here. Kataka revealed in its earnings report for its third quarter of the current fiscal year on Thursday that it had made game developer and publisher acquire Corp 4 into a wholly owned subsidiary. More acquisitions here. Developer is best known for creating the Tenchu, Samurai Do, Shinobi Do, Octopath Traveler, and Akiba's Trip game franchise. It also distributed the Class of Heroes role-playing game. Yeah. Publishers, again, Kataka, etc., doing more and more to kind of control the entire chain to get more stuff in-house, right? Obviously, My Anime List is another sort of similar acquisition. They're doing game developers. They're trying to create in-house studios, stuff like that, trying to cut out the middleman, so to say. Obviously, very dangerous, in my opinion, but kind
No,
of
I think it's
the
good.
natural.
I think it's good and awesome
Yeah,
that a company can just.
wouldn't it be really cool if, like, instead of having all these crappy, anime localization companies, we could just like have them all just merge into one crappy, anime localization company, right? But anyways, more company news. AMC networks have AMC being, I think, part of like AMC theaters, right? Stuff like that. They have agreed to settle a class action lawsuit regarding a violation of the Video Privacy Protection Act with a payout of 8.3 million US dollars to the plaintiff. The company has not admitted to any wrongdoing, but the lawsuit claims that the company's streaming services utilize metapixel tracking to record user activity and share it with third parties without their consent.
Awesome.
So yeah, this consumers who use the AMC Plus, Shudder, Acorn TV, All Be Okay, Sundance Now, and/or High Dive. By the way, High Dive being one of the major anime streaming services out right now. High Dive, and by the way, also one of the services that is currently being lauded for being "quote unquote" good in light of the recent Crunchyroll incidents, right? Services on an online website, mobile app, or streaming service controlled by AMC between January 18th, 2021 and January 10th, 2024 are eligible to receive a share of the settlement. Eligible users must submit a claim form by May 16th. So yeah, if you think High Dive is good, they're also using your information and reselling it. Good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the good ones, right? Yeah. So, that's High Dive here. More company news. Video post-production company Media OCD and anime distributor Animego announced on Thursday that Media OCD will acquire Animego's video distribution process. Blah blah. More of them kind of coming together. And the last sort of and there's some like stalking news. I know, like, there's some guy who went to prison for trying to threaten voice actress Yui. Please do not do that. Foreigners were arrested in Japan for posting Shonen Jump manga online before publication. Also, try not to do that. And the last piece of news, again, I apologize expressly for not being able to cover it last week when we should have, but at the end of January, Ashihara Hinako, the manga creator, the manga artist behind Sexy Tanaka-san, was found dead on Monday. Found dead at the end of January in an apparent suicide at the age of 50. So she made a blog post so before her suicide apparent where she made a post regarding the live action adaptation for Sexy Tanaka. In the blog post, stated that she had made a condition that the live action adaptation will be faithful to the manga and said that NTV did not uphold that condition. She said many scenes she held dear as the quote unquote core of the manga cut or not depicted properly, and the characterizations were changed. She was not given a satisfactory reason why. Blah blah. Ashihara said that throughout the entire production, she had never met with the show's scriptwriter, and she did not talk directly with the director. She added that she ended up writing for the scripts for the final 2 episodes for the series after the original scenario she outlined for the ending was quote unquote significantly changed, but apologized that she had to rush the script as an amateur scriptwriter and she could not refine it further. She was also working on deadlines manga. So yeah. Ashihara explained that she and her staff had made it a condition from the outset she could be allowed to write the scripts for herself for the final episodes if she was not satisfied with them, adding NTV had agreed to. So NTV apologized just 4 days ago from today that they had heard again about the recent death of creator Ashihara Hinako, and they said they released a statement afterwards after her initial blog post saying that, or after her sort of suicide, that when the company proposed the live action adaptation, it consulted with Ashihara on her opinions through Shugakukan, and that Ashihara had approved on the final script that went into production. Shugakukan will announce on January 30th that Sexy Tanaka manga will remain unfinished, and the chapter that was published on December 5th will be the last chapter. So, yeah, I mean, again, this is obviously, you know, this is sort of where stuff like the dramatizations that are made in places such as Oshinoko, for example, like these are where these sorts of references come from. It's not just people just making it up and dramatizing. These are real awful things that can happen to people in the manga industry when it gets passed up to people in higher management, people in production, anime production, media production, like that, and it just gets mangled, right? And it's the constant conflict between the manga artist, who is the original creator of story, right, and people up top who think they know better and have other plans for that sort of material. And it is a very unfortunate incident that happened. And
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's the classic dynamic of like someone working their ass off on something, and then just like some fucking suit is like, nah, I'm just gonna like ignore you. Like,
it's like,
oh, okay.
but what if it wasn't this series? It's like, well, why did you adapt this in the first place, right?
Yeah, it's like, then why? Yeah, why set this person up for this?
Yeah, and obviously she would be taking part of the blame if the live action adaptation was bad as right. And it is very unfortunate. Obviously, this should serve as yet another lesson as to why upper management should not interfere with the creative process possible. And one can only hope that it does, again, serve as a proper warning. But my fear, again, with this is that along with the fact companies becoming stronger and stronger and stronger compared to individual parties, right? With smaller independent studios or like individual creators, right? Because everybody's being taken in because all these companies are being merged or acquired by Sony or Warner Bros. Or whatever, right? Because these companies are growing in power so much more relative to all these smaller creators and workers and stuff like that way more of these are going to happen in the future. These companies are just going to be like, oh yeah, this producer in the back and some of our AI models told us that I think the viewers what they actually want to watch is your manga, but with like slapstick comedy attached for like the next 4 episodes. That's what the viewers really want, and they'll kind of run roughshod over the writers' intents, creative artists' intents, and in the future, the creative artists will have even less ability to fight back because the companies are growing, more unified, and the companies are just going to tell the creators, hey, we're giving you this offer. You don't want it? Okay, like where the hell else are you going to go?
Yeah, there's like
What are the
nowhere.
companies?
There's no
Yeah, exactly.
alternative.
Yeah, and you don't. You're spurting us. You're insulting us. Do you know that we control this entire chain? Like we not only control these like animation production, we also we were related to like different publishers, uh, video distributors, whatever, like TV network connections, stuff like that, like out the wazoo, right? We control the entire mean. What are you gonna do? Kind of we can like shut you down from ever getting back into this anime, and that's going to be a very valuable thing in the future as all these companies kind of combine. And remember, not only are these companies sucking up anime production, they're also starting to own obviously like manga, digital manga, and webtoon creation, right? So these artists are not only going to be threatened with potentially not being able to make proper anime proper, they could honestly, and this is not very far fetched, they could be punished with their livelihoods by getting fucked on the digital manga end as well, their digital manga, right? Because if like Kadokawa, right, starts making an anime, has like in-house anime studios or whatever, right? And um one creator or like they're trying to help create an adaptation or whatever, and this manga creator comes, they get an offer and they start working and they're like, wait, I don't like the way you guys are treating my source with regards to how this is portrayed maybe in the anime or how things are truncated. Kadokawa can tell them, hey, fuck off. Like, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me or my manager ever again. Because not only are they controlling the anime side, they're also potentially, controlling the manga platform side that the manga creator is publishing on. So what is the manga creator gonna do then? Like just get extinguished from the face of the planet? So I just think this is a huge work that manga creators really have to come up with. And this sort of stuff, we really, really, really have to make sure we try to face off against this and blow up the bad news as possible and stand up against this as much as possible before it becomes inevitable, before Kadokawa and Shogakukan and the Sonys and the Warner Bros of the world already have it in their hand. Although I do think this is almost like already like a terminal, like level 2, level 3, stage 2, stage 3 kind of thing, because a lot of these companies are already owned by these larger companies. We have to do what we can. So very unfortunate news all around. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the news here. And we're going to wrap up with the shout outs and call outs real quick. Shout out, everybody here gets one shout out and one call. Shout out is something that you want to praise, 10 out of 10, 5 stars on Yelp. Can be any one person, place, or thing. Call out is one thing that you want to rant, 0 out of 10 that you want to rage over. Again, any one person, place, or thing. And we start now with Near. Shout out, call out, please.
Damn, shoutouts. I don't know. I feel like shit kind of sucks lately.
Everybody's just gonna
Shit's
go
kinda
double call
fucking
out. Double call out
exploding
podcast.
the past
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Shoutouts to just the fact that Doggy Bird has almost 600,000 subs already.
Nice.
Shit's fucking crazy. Callouts to man, what to pick? So many options. I don't know. I'm just gonna make a general call out to the last like week. Shit's yeah, shit. I feel like the internet has been like fucking going absolutely ape shit recently. Yeah, shit's just fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Very unfortunate. Dark.
I guess shoutouts to Persona 5. Persona 5 the franchise. Because the Royal was fun, and now Strikers is fun. And I'm sure Tactica is gonna be cool. And I think my call out, I'm just gonna call out this week in general now. Like
Yeah.
no, not this week.
Solution.
No,
Yeah,
not this week. I'm gonna call out for this week in particular. I mean, indie games in general. I'm calling them out. This is a blanket statement because Helldivers 2, while very fun, I can't play it because the servers are ass. And you know, you can only get 9 days in and say, oh, well, they weren't expecting 500,000 people to play it. Well, it was also shown at every fucking Sony State of Play and at the Game Awards. So suck my dick. Like, what? It's a fucking it's a first party, essentially, Sony licensed game at this point. Like, what the fuck are we doing? But even beyond that, the game is literally not ready. Like, gun descriptions are wrong, and there's only like 8 guns in the fucking game. So it's like you have like no, there's more than 8. There's probably like a dozen guns at this point in the game. And there are like 4 guns with just their descriptions are just wrong. They say they have light armor penetration, they don't. They have medium. Their damage numbers are out of whack. Like nothing makes any sense. And it also makes it seem extremely spaghetti coded because it's like you would expect a game to be programmed where like, oh, does this gun have this property? Well, then the text will have to reflect that. But that does not appear to be the case because there are guns that like have light armor penetration or say they do that penetrate medium armor. So it's like how did you guys make this? Like, what the fuck? Did you like manually type in the fucking item descriptions? Like, why would you do that? And also the fact that armor ratings in that game don't work. Like, if you wear light armor, it's the same as medium and heavy armor. Even though one has 50 armor, one has 100 armor, one has 150 armor. It doesn't fucking matter. So this game was not ready for release. And there are a lot of people being like, basically behaving as if this game would be perfect if the servers worked. And it's like, well, no, they have a lot of work to get done. This is essentially an early access game. This is an early access game in every way, but them telling you it's an early access game. And I think that's wrong. And then the only other thing, yeah. And then the only other thing that under my blanket indie game call out was going to be that Deep Rock Survivor, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor released today, I think, or a few days ago in early access. And it's just Vampire Survivors, but with like a Deep Rock Galactic skin on it, and it's like so devastatingly depressing because it's like Deep Rock Galactic is an incredible fucking game, and they should just be giving that more content. Whether it be paid DLC or paid cosmetics or something. Like, just fucking monetize that game. Because that's the only one that matters. Like, no one wants your fucking Vampire Survivors clone. Okay?
Very unfortunate. Thank you, Dark. Shout out for call. And Toast, what about you? Shout out call, please.
my shout out. I'm gonna shout out cool dudes.
Okay.
Cool dudes who treat their cool dudes right and pay them properly and don't slander them on other channels.
So true.
Oh yeah. Remember when that one girl got NDA'd and got booted out, and everyone just had positive things to say about her as she left. Even the same generation, they're all like, she's she was a cool dude, but it's sad to see it go this way. And then
What is your
even then
call out?
later on, when they cut her mic, they let her on one last time and let her say some things, and all she had to say was "my bad," and everyone's like, "Damn, sucks," but we get it.
It's true.
Call out.
What you call it?
Fire, you can have 2 callouts. I'll allow it.
I'm not gonna do 2 callouts. I don't think I need 2 callouts. Do I
You
need
know
2
who to
callouts? I
call
might need
out.
2 call. No, I know what I'm gonna call out, but I was wondering if I needed another one. I'm just thinking right.
Yeah, you can have another one. You can double up on mine.
No, but what? Regardless of me, what is your contest?
No,
You can call out Nijian if you want to. That's fine.
no, I don't want to. I think they're
Okay.
cool
What are you gonna
dudes.
call out then? Yes.
What?
What are you gonna call out?
I'll let you have that one. I'll let you ruminate over it.
Oh, you want me to do like take your call out? Is what you're
Yeah.
saying? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll go next then. Thanks, Toast. For your shout out plus 1 toss to call out. But I'll do shout out to Spirit Island. I really like that game, although there are some like weird parts of it where I'm just like, I have no idea how the game state is. I'm just gonna keep doing the same thing and pray to Jesus that I'm gonna get to late game and actually win. So there's some stuff like that. And then uh call out, what is it? To yeah, exactly. So first call out is to Nijisanji En, or not even Nijisanji En, Nijisanji management, right? Again, like the frustrating part is
Well, I mean, you can't call out something that didn't really exist. Like,
yeah, exactly. The lack thereof of Nijisanji management, right? Uh, but the frustrating part is obviously I'm calling out the recent scandals, but I'm not even really calling out Nijisanji in general because the like this was crappy to begin with. This is not like a new call out that I'm making or anything. Like it was just bad to begin with, and they deserve. Obviously, the
yeah, I
streamers
mean,
didn't deserve it, but the Nisanji certainly deserve what they
well, I
got.
mean, 3 of them
Right?
definitely did, but
Yeah.
the I think the main thing is like I was saying in our call the other day, like the fact that these companies think that they can get away with having an EN branch without like literally just
Any management.
mirroring the roles of their JP branch is like just so fucking like arrogant to me. Because it's like it's not like their JP branch is managerless, is like PRless, is and it's like you need those same roles if you're gonna do an EN branch.
Or
Because you
even
fucking dummies are not bilingual. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And you're not
and
even in tune
also
with the culture of the location you're trying to fucking stream in.
yeah, and also even if that sort of like cultural whatever stuff was not even a problem, even if those hurdles didn't exist, it's just how professional fucking companies work. It's just how like actual chain like management chains in companies work, and obviously there can be too many middle managers, right? But like actual managers and stuff like that are like like team leaders are there for a reason. You know what I mean? And it's like if you don't have at least someone to be like, hey, we should do this, you should not do that. make sure to remember the rules. Hey, we need some evaluation from you, or whatever stuff like that. If you don't have any sort of person to actually do that sort of management capability, or you don't at least hire streamers who have metric but fuck ton loads of experience in doing that, right? Like these better be people who have survived for 10 years in the Nico Nico era, right? Like how Cover does it oftentimes. If you don't have those sorts of people with that sort of character, or you don't have proper management, it's pretty obvious that they're going to go down the wazoo. And this mistreatment of everybody that's not in the mainland branch, and even later on, in the mainland, right? In Nijisan GJP, there was a lot of very obvious favoritism, even before before these sorts of later years, even I want to say probably the starting to middle years of Niji Sanji mainland branch, there was still a decent amount of favoritism, obviously. Um, I even translated a clip myself of one of the more famous Niji Sanji streamer talking about this, how it was sort of like a flower shop, right? Uh, Niji Sanji puts their uh, best streamers forward, right, in the spotlight, and kind of shoves everybody to the back. So they've been famous for this for quite a while, and none of this really came to a surprise for me. And obviously, um, this was not good, and did not feel good about it. But it was pretty obvious to me. It wasn't like shocking and like world-rending or whatever, because to me it was a lot like, yeah, these streamer explosions and blowups and drama and stuff like that happen, and streamers kind of have to go out and then come back, and it just kind of happens all the time with these sorts of instabilities. Very unfortunate for the streamers involved who did not deserve to get this sort of treatment. Sure.
Or did they?
But that was Nissan GEN, and then the second call out on loan from Toast is the Crunchyroll thing, right? What was the exact details? Can somebody cover for me? It was like Crunchyroll. Oh my god, it's like,
I mean, they're killing Funimation.
Yeah, they're killing
they're
off
killing
Funimation, and then they're
and
raising their
they
prices
yes,
by
yes,
like
yes.
40% or whatever.
Goodbye,
Yeah.
goodbye digital ownership. You never own those anime.
And
Yeah, I mean you didn't, but
yeah,
You'll
and
never be able to watch them again.
it would be nice if, you
again,
know, because like the problem, I would say the big problem, the main problem, well, I mean, there's a lot of problems, but
yeah,
one of the main things that always gets me with like the digital ownership thing is like, you know, we could argue day and night, like, oh, you don't own X, you do own X, you own Y. And it's like at the end of like, I don't really give a shit. I just don't think it should be legal for a company to just shutter it or get bought up by another conglomerate and then them just being like, no, this offering that you had, you don't have it anymore. It's like, okay, well then pay people out for that. Like fuck you. Like
yeah.
no one forced you
Or
to buy this.
it's like similar. It's like
that shouldn't
similar
be
to
fucking
the
legal.
It's like similar to the Amazon Kindle Harry Potter incident or whatever, right? Where it's like, uh, they were like, we're not gonna put Harry Potter on a Kindle anymore, or whatever it was, right? And so you guys, you guys have about a couple weeks to download Harry Potter or whatever, and after that, it's gone. Can't do it anymore, or whatever it is, right? It was something like that, right? Where people were not allowed to get the permanent copies of the Harry Potter books off the digital store, although they had literally like actually bought it, right? Bought those digital copies. Um, so it was very well. Again,
Yeah, I
like
mean it's like when
obviously,
games get pulled and stuff. It's just to
yeah,
me, it's like really, really fucking annoying. Like when it's because of an acquisition. Right? Like
yeah,
that to
yeah,
me, like even doubly so. Because it's like this other company seemed to have no, you know, Funimation seemed to have no indication that that was going to go away, right? Like that was not
uh
a plan. And then it gets bought up, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, well now things are changing, and now you don't actually have this thing that you paid for. It's like, well, like my whole point is like no one had a gun to their head and said you have to acquire Funimation. So like in doing that, yeah, you should owe now the customers like payments for that. You should just get your money back. Like fuck you.
You know how it's really funny because it's like this is also, you know how the lawyers at Kadokawa and all the publishers and the anime studios are always just like, excuse me, as the plaintiff, I have to mention that as part of the prosecution, I have to mention that this one uh, 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 person who copied the Naruto episode 484, they caused approximate damages to our anime industry of about $4.6 trillion. And it's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, actually, shut the fuck up. Like, you guys don't. There's no fucking chance that you guys are estimating all of the people that have ever browsed through, Pirate Bay or whatever, and you guys are like, yeah, those people could have searched for Naruto, and so we calculate this to be our damages. Like, shut the fuck up. And yet, when people are actually very likely like losing actual valued money, right? Because they paid for that thing and now they cannot access that thing anymore, right? Um, they're just like a radio silence. Nothing happens. Like when actual like digital value is being lost. So it is very ironic to be sure. And of course, again, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this podcast, it is very frustrating to me that the anime community took this like they do, where all before Crunchyroll did this specifically, they were just like, oh, everything's so fine. Roses,
Yeah, this
Crunchyroll is
acquisition's great.
justified.
It's not
Yeah,
nothing's gonna happen. I thought at most like
or
they were
even
just gonna
before,
jack up the prices of both and keep them split. Like that was your best
yeah,
outcome.
or even before the acquisition, like all of the buildup leading to stuff like this, right? Where it was just, oh, the translation stuff was, them not paying the translator very well. It wasn't very good, but Crunchyroll is our localizing company, very close to our heart, stuff like that. CrunchyCon, wow, they're wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars on some fucking anime convention bullshit, and their CEO is expanding in directions away from localization and streaming, despite the fact that their main service, quality service, should be localization and streaming? Question mark. But they're expanding to other places for reasons unknown before their
Yeah, I
main
mean it
product expand.
especially should have
It's like,
been obvious to anyone with Crunchyroll in the beginning as well, the problems, because
yeah,
like again, you had things like like you said, the CrunchyCon, you had like them blowing money on the fucking like cafeteria or
like,
whatever.
yeah, and going to Japan and
But
trying to have
yeah,
interviews with the studios and shit like that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like realistically the main thing though that I like really wish people paid attention to was like, well, over the years, it's not like their subtitles were getting better or they were paying more, right? Like that
And
never changed.
the CEO literally, and the people like running the company at the top, literally were just like, yeah, we're expanding to other like places, and we're sitting there like, hey, but you like your quality, your initial product isn't good in the first place. So
Yeah,
why?
it's like you guys literally have gone like you have not progressed your own initial product. Like you've just spread yourselves more and more. And it's
Yeah,
like, yeah, that I mean that's essentially like they ran their company like a fucking, like a fucking Amazon or something, where it's like, they were
yeah.
going for better valuations by like just
Or
constantly expanding. It's like,
yeah,
well,
exactly. It's
that's
like
not
it's
gonna
like a
help.
very Silicon Valley scam company kind of thing where
Yeah,
they're
it's
like,
like
we're gonna
that's
do
not
all these
gonna.
things.
Yeah, it's like, well. I mean, it's just the idea of like, you keep it, you keep expanding and like nothing about like your actual operations because
Yeah,
who cares? Like the fucking, you're investing or your stocks are gonna go up because you're expanding. Like you're
yeah,
growing.
exactly.
Doesn't really
Yeah,
matter if you make money or not,
and the
or whether or
investors are
not your
just gonna be
shit's
like, "Mm,
good. You're just expanding.
yeah, yeah,
Um, And so it's like, you know, when you're doing that, that's not exactly sustainable for something that's supposed to be fucking like localizing things. Like that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that's not gonna do anything for you.
And it's
But
just
yeah,
so frustrating to see that sort of stuff, as well as again the them being eventually transferred over to Sony and everything getting bought up and people not saying anything, people barely saying anything about the translator localizer being paid issue, um, the fucking weird ass fucking crunchy con stuff. uh what is it, like they had their like game mobile app or some shit like that.
yeah. Well,
What
they
else did they have?
had
Right, the fucking Crunchyroll data leak shit, right? The Sony
yeah. I mean, there was
Crunchyroll
the
data
data
leak.
leak. There was the fact that they like
Oh my god,
fail
fuck,
to
man.
they're a shitty dog shit fucking failed publisher of mobile games. Where it was literally
Yeah.
a meme where it's like, hey, is Crunchyroll publishing this mobile game? It'll be closed down within 6 months. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, and now finally, after Funimation goes away and the anime community takes a dildo directly up the anus with the localized titles disappearing as well as the price increase. Now, suddenly, all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, right? Crunchyroll has now become the most evil company, and what a disappointment it is in many senses. That was my dual call, second call out, I guess. Thank you, Toast. And yeah, uh, that'll be our shout out and call out. And we have two more episodes after this. We're going to cover that. And we should be in time, I think, after that, as well as the spring preview show. We should be on pace for the season pretty shortly. So we'll be able to cover some more series before that. We still have some big ones in the bag. So I'll watch out for those. And if you do like what we do, we stream our podcast every other Saturday, starting from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast, again with the numeral 4, where we talk about the latest and greatest in Japanese anime related media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. So you can check here for our live recording as well as clip highlight content. Check us out on YouTube as well, whichever format you desire. We have updates on when we're streaming, stuff like that, news related updates on Twitter at 4PPAnimecast, as well as on Facebook, 4PlayerAnimecast, again, all with the numeral 4 here, as out there. As always, we'll see you next time.